Welcome to episode 133 of the Reptile Gumbo podcast. We're back. We were off last week. We put out some recordings.
What did we do last week?
It was recordings. We did. Remember, you and I had you come in here and record the intro for me with me. It was recordings
I was
from.
still feeling like crap from that science.
That's true. It was recordings from the Corpus Christi show.
I remember now.
And then we had one from the Bryan College Station show, which we have more from the Bryan College Station show to release next month.
I went to my doctor today and got that taken care of.
And then in probably 2 months, we'll release the ones from Conroe. That way it gives us a week off every month.
I was watching Clerks 3.
That's what I'm saying. You went to the movies.
That's right. You went and saw Clerks 3.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there's Brandy O'Quinn.
Awesome.
Was it good?
It's if you're a Kevin Smith fan,
I was just to say, it
is awesome. He closes up the whole Clerks series. Really, be
That's
prepared.
cool.
You're gonna fucking cry,
Oh.
and then you're gonna laugh, and then you're gonna at the end, towards the end, when the real one hits you, you're gonna be like, You're like, this is not what I expected. It is.
I love it.
Oh, look, it's Douglas Ray White.
It is his best movie.
That's Ray White.
That's so great.
Speaking of John Grant, we were just talking about your Friday night adventures, John. Right before we came
We'll
on.
leave it there.
We'll leave it at that.
Let's go ahead and do our sponsor stuff before we get too far. Katie, you ready?
No, I'm not. Where is it? Oh, there it
It's
is.
in your phone.
It was really far down on the notes.
And go.
It's been a while since I've opened it. But if you're looking for a high quality PVC rack, look no further than Lone Star Reptile Racks. They offer a variety of sizes for all types of snakes, geckos, rats, and more. You can even order something custom. Shipping is available, or you can plan to pick up at a HERPS Reptile show near you. Visit lsreptileracks.com to reach out to Lone Star Reptile Racks and place your order today.
Did you mention tortoise tables in there?
I don't, but I can change it to include tortoise tables.
You should definitely. I'm just saying that because I have to get a tortoise table now.
Okay.
Because my
He actually has a really cool idea for one for my classroom.
with a little viewing window.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to do that.
So a little tortoise table with a viewing window so the kids can see it. That was a really good idea.
She's loving life at in my classroom. So
The cages that I'm taking up to the meet that lady at one of Shawn's customers at the shop up there on Thursday are really odd.
Really?
They're 6 foot,
cages?
6 foot long by 12 inches, by 16 inches.
What the hell is
About
she
12
putting
inches
in it?
deep?
Yeah, she has these shelves on the wall, and that's where she wants them to be.
What is she putting in them?
King snakes.
Okay.
That's
fine.
cool.
Yeah,
It's not
but
big body boas or anything. It's
we ordered heat panels. There's no heat panel
Those
that's
are
only 10 inches wide,
no.
Oh yeah.
because after you put the faceplate sits back an inch, and it's a ½ inch thick,
Whoa.
and then the back sits on there, so you lose 2 inches.
Yeah.
So you only got 10 inches of space. So I had to put it on the back and then on the back wall. And then because we don't want the snake to mess with it, I built, see the whole little,
Oh yeah, the false wall.
I know it's great radio because listeners can't see
That's
it.
that's like what my
It's almost like how you would do an incubator.
well, it's kind of like my focus cube cage.
Mm-hmm.
So the little focus cube thing that I have has got heat tape in there and then a false wall so it can't come into contact.
So it's just it comes out 3 inches. So there's an air gap between it, and then you can actually just run the probe in from the back because there's a hole there already that the snake can't get to. Run the probe in from the back, and
That's awesome.
yeah, I think it'll work out well. She loved it when I sent her pictures of it. So
I liked so we had Conroe 2 weeks ago. We haven't been on since we had Conroe, which was that was a busy show.
Yeah.
That was a lot of people. But you have a new tortoise table that I liked. That's a 40-gallon breeder. You've done a 40-gallon breeder cage.
mm-hmm.
So it fits on the same stand. If somebody owns a 40-gallon breeder tank and they don't want to do glass anymore, I don't blame you because glass sucks. You can do the 40-gallon breeder cage,
Mm-hmm.
but you also now have a 40-gallon breeder footprint tortoise table. So if you have a 40-gallon breeder stand,
It's not as tall as a 40 breeder, obviously,
Right.
because you don't want to reach down, 18 inches from the top or whatever.
but it's the floor space because we have a 40-gallon breeder stand in there with a tank on it. So if
Right.
you have a stand already, it would fit on there.
Yep.
But
And
I've
we
got
have Robert and I are going to be working on something for the shop too. That I talked to him a little bit at the show for some bigger tortoises to display. So
mm-hmm.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll have a door that he can open up so the tortoise can just come out and roam if he wants it to. And
so Ollie can come out and cruise around.
yep.
That's really cool.
My sulcata has gotten too large to be housed with any other of my tortoises. Thanks to my VivTech light bulb. By the way, if anybody wants to save 15% on a VivTech light
I
bulb,
don't know if I told y'all when we got home at 3 a.m. or whatever,
code Gumbo 22.
Sunday night, my little Redfoot was.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, she didn't make it. She hasn't done well since I got her.
Which one? Which one was that?
The one you and I both got
Really?
tortoises together that day at Lafayette.
Oh man, mine's doing amazing.
She just never
That's
would
crazy.
thrive. She just never was very active.
Fuck,
We
man.
gave her all the supplement, everything, and I noticed a week or so ago her shell's getting soft.
Oh man.
And I was
Tortoises
like-
are rough because once they start to show anything,
Yeah.
it's
I said that our shell started getting soft, and I reached out to a couple people, and they were all both like, "Yeah, that's not a good sign."
yeah.
It's crazy. I just fed mine my 2 redfoots some mushrooms earlier, and they went to town on them.
So we froze her. I figured I'll see if Maria wants it.
that'd be cool.
Yeah, she's a gorgeous little
Yeah.
cherry head. But
I forget who did we get it from?
we got those from
Because he does the
Rob
herbs.
Roy.
That's right.
Rob Roy. Yeah,
You talked to him because, like I said, mine's doing
Yeah.
great.
you know.
But I fed them mushrooms because they're protein. They need protein,
Mhm.
and those things went crazy for mushrooms.
Yeah, she would eat. We gave her some boiled chicken
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago. She ate. She would eat a little bit, but it was just never what you.
Oh, it sucks.
What you
And-
hear.
Yeah, and my old bearded dragon, the one that's in the living room, I knew she wasn't gonna. I mean, I've had her 3 years, but she couldn't even walk when I got her.
I was going to say, she's come a long way.
That's
So-
the one that you put the light on when you
Yeah,
first put the VivTech light on. It went crazy.
She's quit eating for the
Oh.
most part. She just doesn't really move around anymore, and I mean, look, I'm happy she got 3 more years because
Yeah.
she wouldn't have gotten that where she was at.
No,
And they were 3 good years.
it's rough when you
And-
have older animals.
She did this 2 years ago too. Like this time of year, she kind of just declined, and she went into brumation. And after a few weeks in brumation, I'm like, she's gonna fucking die in brumation. So I had to take her hide out because I would get her out and wake her up and get her moving around, and for a couple, then she'd go back in there and want to go. So finally, I just had to force her to come out of brumation, and she did great from then on. But now she's just not very active. And
Is this the part of the show where we talk about things dying? Because I lost a corn snake last week.
that's right, you
You
did.
did.
I lost my 17-year-old snow corn. I was very sad. I went in and she was just dead.
Oh, Shawn, you want me to bring that rack with me on Thursday too?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
Mhm.
But yes, I got to get tortoise table for my other tortoises. I took my sulcata to the classroom the other day, and I hadn't really taken them out of the tortoise table in a while. And I picked them up. I was like, holy shit, this thing does not fit in any tub that I currently have used for him to go anywhere.
Has he really gotten that big?
Oh man,
I'll take a look at him when we're done.
He's
literally
On the other
right
side of
there.
the wall.
yeah, on the other side of the wall.
Like if this wall was in here, I could damn near touch him.
Yeah.
You could
But-
reach that corner and you're
Yeah.
ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that I fully believe the VivTech bulbs has helped. His shell's nice and smooth, and he's
Yeah.
growing like crazy in there.
Yeah,
Love
I'm
those
gonna-
things.
If we end up going to Arlington this weekend, I'm gonna grab one from Ryan. I just couldn't pay $32 for shipping.
Shipping, yeah.
It's for a little bitty box this big.
Yeah.
We carry them
again,
at the herb shop. Just
There you
saying.
Oh, you do?
Oh,
Yeah.
and you'll be
Well,
there.
I'll be
You'll
there
be there tomorrow.
Thursday.
There
So
you go. Well,
Thursday.
we might send you with some extra money to bring some back for us too.
because I don't think we're gonna be able to go this weekend. I just don't.
To Arlington.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We'll be
wanted
in
to. It's
Louisiana.
just
Well, I will be.
for some
I'll
reason
be
I thought it was in like
Louisiana.
October, and I didn't realize it was like this weekend. I was like, yeah, I can't do that.
Earlier this week, he was like, "Yeah, are we going in October?" I'm like, "It's this
This week,
weekend."
yeah,
He's
this
like, "No, it's not. It's October." I'm like, "Dude,
Totally this weekend.
look it up."
Yep.
Speaking of going back to Conroe and speaking of animals, though, we came back with animals.
Oh,
Like we didn't
jeez.
plan on coming back with.
Did
tons.
y'all?
God,
came
we
back
came
with a
back with a
ton.
lot of shit.
So,
Oh yeah, because like people were giving you
Yeah,
stuff
our
for
For
the
buddy-
our
zoo.
classrooms.
our
yeah.
buddy Drew at the Learning Zoo, he donated a jungle carpet python to my zoo at the school. So once we got that set up, we got a jungle carpet for that.
I was gifted a 3-toed eastern box turtle for my
For her
classroom,
classroom
and she's amazing.
From Drew.
from Drew.
From the Learning Zoo. Yeah, the
Drew and
kids. Becca.
Drew and Becca. Yeah.
The kids freaking love her. We named her Alice because she's so curious and she wants to get into everything. And she's just
And then you
phenomenal.
got 3 moon crabs.
I did. I got 3 Halloween moon crabs.
Where those
And-
come from, Russell?
Yes.
Mhm.
And then you got a bearded dragon,
I got
thanks
a
to
small bearded dragon
Shawn.
who's living large in our kitchen.
Is the most active little dragon. I've
Is
ever-
it?
That's
Man,
I
cool.
didn't have anywhere else to put him, so I just put him on my dining room
when you
table.
open the lid, he wants to come up and onto your hand.
Yeah, he
That's
wants to
cool.
hang out
Yeah,
with you. He
they
lets
were-
you feed
they
him
were
by
hand-fed.
hand.
It's the
Yeah,
only
they
way I
were
can get him to
hand-fed.
only way I can get him to eat greens is from my
Yes.
hand.
Yeah.
He'll chase the crickets in the container I put him in to feed him for crickets, and he'll eat dried mealworms out of my hands. But the only way I can get him to eat any type of vegetable is if we feed it by hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
That'd be good for the kids though. They'll enjoy it.
Oh, yeah?
Get it, picking
Yeah,
it up.
I
I'll
want
take
him to
those
get a
kids.
little bigger, and then I'll take him to the classroom because he's like maybe
Oh, he's itty bitty.
5 inches with
Itty
tail.
bitty.
Yeah.
But super active. So anyways, that was a good show. You just had a show in you and Shawn, 'cause
Shawn,
Shawn's here.
in New Orleans.
I guess we need to, you know what? Hold on. Let's finish. I didn't do Shawn. Shawn's here. Let's
You
do
probably don't have to pull him up. He could probably tell you the dates. No, I know Shawn.
no,
Shawn just knows what
Lori,
the next.
Lori could.
Shawn just knows what the next show is
Lori could
usually.
tell me the
Yeah.
dates.
Shawn's like, I know Waco's next. That's
Yeah, I
it.
know Waco's next.
And I know when Waco is. Waco is the 15th and 16th of October.
That is true.
Yep.
And
Way
then
to
we
go.
have Pearland.
Right.
No. Lafayette.
You have Lafayette.
Oh, no, we have
Pearland.
Lafayette. Then we have Pearland.
Then you
See,
have
another next show.
Pearland.
See,
Mhm.
Lafayette is the 5th and 6th of November.
There's
And depending on when the Troy football game is, we may be there all day Saturday or just part of Saturday.
This the only game on our whole schedule for the whole year that doesn't have a time.
They just happen. Troy happens to be playing
It's
Lafayette
so weird.
in Lafayette during the Lafayette show.
Oh, so y'all are actually
So
going
we're
to
gonna
go.
go
yeah.
to the
Oh,
game.
yeah.
I can't be in Lafayette and Troy be playing football there and not go to the game.
Let's talk about Lafayette real quick.
What?
So you guys booked that hotel that one of our other vendors.
We,
Oh, yeah,
we
I
unbooked
totally
it.
don't
We
care.
unbooked it.
Until I looked at the fucking reviews for that
Hello?
hotel last night.
Yeah, hello.
Oh my god.
Those reviews are horrifying.
I mean, I looked at where it was on the map, and I'm like, yeah, it'll be sketchy, but it'll be fine.
I'm like
Let's go.
$45 when every other hotel in town is 150 to 200 a night.
Yeah.
There's got to be something to this.
It was a string of 1 star, and then somebody accidentally hit 5 stars.
And
but
that
then you
gives
read
them
the
a
review,
higher.
and
That gives them like a 3.3 when you do that.
They accidentally hit it because then you read the review for the 5 star, and it was like, no, don't go here.
I mean, every review is like,
Yeah.
it reads like a horror story.
It-
Like,
We could have
like-
had an adventure, fellas. Adventure.
We
Like,
may not have made it
do
home.
you, I don't know if you saw my comment under the
Where's
one, and
your
I was
sense
like,
of adventure?
their tagline for this hotel should be like, "Do you enjoy true crime podcasts? Would you like to star in one?" Because there's like literally reviews. There's a guy's like, "Yeah, I was walking into the parking lot at 2:00 in the afternoon. Some guy came up with a gun and took all my money." And then another one's like, "Yeah, they hit 6 cars in the parking lot tonight, broke all of our windows, and stole stuff." And
Yeah, we'll pass.
Damn.
yeah,
We're going to go ahead and cancel that one.
yeah.
So that's November 5th and 6th. Don't go to that hotel. Then the Pearland show is November 12th and 13th. Looking forward to the Pearland show.
Mhm.
Austin, Texas is December 3rd and 4th
Are you taking off Friday?
That's
for that
my
show?
birthday weekend.
for
Oh,
the Pearland
cool.
show.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I already.
Are y'all
know.
gonna
Well,
get that same
you
house
are.
again, Shawn?
In Austin, yeah, I think so. That
Cool.
place is badass.
That is a
Um,
nice place,
I think we've already booked that actually, and it's the girls. The girls have the same birthday as me, so it's.
right?
I'm assuming they might. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But that's my birthday weekend, and then we have Slidell the weekend after, and then I won't see anybody
Christmas.
till
Till January
middle of
14th.
January. Yep.
Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, January 14th and 15th.
Yep.
Longview, Texas, January 21st, 22nd. And then Conroe, back to Conroe for my birthday weekend.
That's Conroe.
So that is the future of the Herp shows. But the Herp show this past weekend, I was talking to you and our buddy John Grant during the weekend. Y'all had a great
Pretty good
weekend.
show. Yeah. It was shows have definitely gotten a little better. The last few have been a little better.
Yeah.
I think Shawn had the stuff with all the crap with the marketing with the Facebook screwing everything up.
Well,
Which
and I
is
still
still not unlocked.
Really?
I still stand
Damn.
by gas being as low as it is. Once gas
It
got
doesn't hurt. That's for
below
sure.
$3, people had fun money again.
People were definitely felt like they had more expendable money this weekend.
Yeah. And attendance was probably a little below average for that show still, but spending picked up and it's funny because people were freaking out because there was a Saints home game on Sunday, but every time there's ever been a Saints home game during that show, it's helped us because the people coming either don't care about football or, could care less or whatever, and they're there to spend money. So we had a really good turnout on Sunday actually. So it stayed pretty steady all day. So it was a good turnout. It was a really good show. Most people that we talked to did really well. Besides a few people, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit later on the podcast.
Yes.
We hit that like 2-3 o'clock afternoon, dead spot on Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, Saturday, yeah.
But then on Sunday, there were still people walking around trying to buy shit when we were packing up.
Well, that was
Yeah.
I was gonna say at Conroe. Normally, like on a Sunday, it's slow till about noon, 1 o'clock. It was busy the moment the door opened on Sunday at Conroe.
Yeah, it was.
Crazy.
Well, so I don't know if you know, they had us in the other part of the Ilario Center.
Yeah, I saw that on the map.
And it's like
Yep.
half a mile to where we had to park the vehicles. So it's a bit of a walk. Probably the farthest I've ever had to unload because it's the front doors are a long way, and then it's like this huge patio.
Yeah.
I tried to back on it, and they started yelling at me on Friday. So,
Yeah, you're not supposed to park on that
Yeah.
pavers. Yeah.
They were like, "Don't drive on the pavers." I was like, "Oh, it was an accident. I didn't mean to go over the curb."
My
Oopsie.
bad. Douglas White said they did okay.
I brought Tasha her wiener this weekend.
Yep.
Yep.
Seems like a personal conversation.
I made them a
Does it go with his
Shawn
pickled pig
Shawn
lips?
bought the original one that I made for them at Austin because they weren't there. So it's a dachshund cutout, says Wiener Life. And so I made Tasha one that's slightly bigger.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
So
So
Doug,
she was
that's all I heard all weekend about how Doug's wiener was bigger than mine. That's all I heard all weekend.
I mean, it could have been pickled pig lips.
Yeah,
Well,
it could-
that was-
How
That
did
was
you
a
not
vulva.
know they were pig lips?
All right, so Douglas Ray White lives in bumfuck Louisiana, and so weird shit happens there. And
West
he posts-
Monroe. Don't say Monroe. It's West Monroe.
Yeah,
bumfuck, and
But, yeah.
I've been there.
he posted a picture of pickled pig lips, and
He got
I,
them from Fluker, Louisiana.
which is bumfuck
I
Louisiana.
know. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
So I don't eat pickled pig lips, and I probably haven't seen them in a gas station since I was 12.
Oh.
Right.
So
I
seeing the
guess that's
picture of
where
them,
I grew up.
seeing the picture of them, they look like lips,
Yeah, but not,
but
from the
not
face.
from the
somewhere
face.
else. I immediately knew what they were.
I think
and
it
that's
was
why
partially how he was holding it.
It
Also.
was how
Oh,
he was holding it,
100% how he was holding
and it
it.
had a little bit
A
of hair
little
on
bit
them.
staged of a picture. Yeah.
Oh,
a little bit staged.
100%.
So
But
we had I kind of liked the way we were set up this weekend because we had Doug and them right across from us. Aaron with the pet den was in front of us. Shawn Bradley was with us, like right behind us. So it was kind of fun because know when it was slow, it all it was kind of BS and talk. And of course, Aaron from Pet Den, he brings Willie, that big scaleless corn snap.
Oh yeah,
And, he just sets Willie on a display and he'll be at the whole other end of his 2 or 3 tables or whatever, just talking. And you'll see people walk up and they like look at Willie and they're like, is he real? And then he'll move and you'll just see him like jump back because he does not look real when
Oh, no.
he just, it looks like, looks like he's like a rubber snake.
well, it's like John Grant is setting up his trailer that he's going to be taking to events and all, and he's got those 2 scaleless rat snakes in it.
Well, he got those this weekend.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, those Everglades rats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So those would be really cool.
Yeah, pretty sure Shawn has initiated that too because Shawn
Oh,
saw
yeah.
him. And then, you did because the guy brought him over to you at my
Yeah,
table,
King.
and you're like, "Did you show those to John Grant?"
Yeah. King walked over with him and he said, I don't remember who he was trying to sell them to. And I said, did you show them to John? And I yelled John Grant. And he comes looking and John's like, yeah, I'm getting them. I'm like, I figured you would. They're
And then
cool.
Someone else had a big scaleless Texas rat that was
Mhm.
gorgeous, like a deep red one.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
they actually bought from him as a baby, from John as a
Yeah.
baby.
Like 3 years
um,
ago.
Yeah.
You know what we never talked about was what happened at the Bryan College Station show. I held my very first Texas Indigo.
You did.
oh,
Yeah, that our friend
yeah.
Reese
That's a
brought
fun
up.
show.
That's
You know
cool.
why we didn't talk about it? Because we had the next week off.
Oh, that's true. That was
Yeah.
true.
No, the next week y'all had Travis on. I wasn't here.
That's what it was. He wasn't here to bring it up.
Yeah.
It had been brought up. But yeah, I've never held a Texas Indigo, and that was really cool.
Yep.
To-
He gave me 5 more baby Slowinskis.
Hey, real quick before I forget this, I don't know if Travis reached out to you guys, but I'm assuming you guys know what's going on with his wife, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So Travis reached out to me about doing an open call to see if people could help with a blood drive, to see if we could get matches for her blood type.
Mhm.
So once he gets me all of the details, we'll post that everywhere and share that. So
Yes,
because
100%.
it looks like she's going to need a kidney transplant. So
I told him to reach out to you.
yep, 100%. So we are on board with that. Once he gets me all the info, we will share that with everyone and do what we can to help him out.
Yep.
One of my very, very good friends right now needs a kidney transplant. It's rough. He's doing dialysis every day right now. And
It's just crazy because he's not that like he's fairly young. I mean, he's
40.
He's 40. I mean, and he's in decent shape, and
Yeah.
he's.
No. Yeah, he
I mean, compared like to 2 of us hanging out with him,
Right.
He's not the one that you think has a health problem.
no. Yeah.
I mean, she's the same way though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, because his kidney function's down to 0. So he's doing dialysis every night when he gets off work. He comes home and hooks himself up and
That's
goes to
crazy.
sleep for 8 hours and gets up and yeah, it's crazy.
so yes, we will definitely. Travis, that's the only thing I love about the hobby is that we can do stuff like that, and
Mhm.
and especially with herps, people like Shawn and then people like JT Tomlinson, being able to help people in the hobby, it's a great thing. So we probably get into stuff.
Sure.
Let's get into stuff. It's only been half an hour almost.
20 minutes.
So there were a couple things I had wanted to talk about, a few things, and then it kind of got brought up. Shawn brought it up, and it had been brought up some other things. A lot of stuff focused around shows and sales. And I had mentioned something. I was talking with Robert and JT about it, and I've kind of noticed. I think at shows, and I know ball python people are going to get angry at me.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they do that every week.
But it's
anyway.
not
Go
a dig
ahead.
at the ball python people. It's just, I think we have officially reached a saturation point on ball pythons at shows. And they'll tell you,
Period. I don't think it's just shows.
Not just shows.
And the breeders, of course, the breeders will give you their thing is, no, there's plenty of room. There's plenty of room for higher end stuff. But the problem is, I've seen it shows people complain about selling 1 or 2 snakes in a weekend. That's because they sold their $75 pastel or $150 whatever. But there's 20 other people that have that same snake. So yes, you sold one, and that person sold one, and this person sold one, and none of y'all made decent money because you weren't selling the right thing.
So 2 or 3 weeks ago, we talked about this. I looked on Morph Market. Remember to see how many ball pythons there were?
Yeah,
there was like 37,000.
Cool.
Now there's 40. Now there's 43,863.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Holy
It's well
cow.
over 40. So yeah, Corey Martin and me and Jack and Heidi were talking at Conroe about it, and we were talking about how many there. I think it was like 35 or 36,000 at that point, and Heidi was like, "No, there's not that many." And Corey says, "No, Heidi, you're looking for specific genes. You're looking for specific projects. If you look at everything, it's like 35,000." And that's again kind of the point. Whenever I replied to James's post. And we can get into that whenever you guys want to,
Yeah.
but the whole cycle thing, it's something as a vendor, as a breeder, you've experienced, and you have to try to foresee the future. But at the same time, it's like ball pythons are not going to go away, of course, and they're a keystone animal in this hobby. And I don't care who disagrees with me or agrees with me. I never look down on people that breed ball pythons, because there's a lot of people that are still in it for the love of creating something new, and they're excited about their projects. What you saw was whenever everybody had this COVID money, all these young people, or not young people, not my age, young breeders or young in the hobby, jumped in because of the Kabilkas and the Bob Vu's and these guys cranking out these insane projects.
The guys that
they
sell
jumped
the
on
dream.
these bandwagons and they're selling the dream. So they jumped on these projects and they started buying these juvenile animals so that they could breed. And now that they're producing all these clutches, the market has completely crashed. But not just the market on ball pythons. The economy is in the shitter right now, and there's no end in sight with that. But
it's not getting better.
No, so everyone, and it's usually a couple of years to 3 years when you see this cycle come along, depending on the species. This time it was exemplified because of how much money was flooded into the market, how much free money from the stimulus packages that gave the opportunity for more people to get into the hobby and try to be breeders. And now that they're producing all these clutches, I mean, I can't remember who I talked to. Somebody was talking about they're producing 400 something babies this year. And they have an outlet. They have Morph Market or they have expos, and so you're competing against all these other vendors that are doing the same thing. The ones that are going to stick with it have that longevity, have multiple projects, but they also have varying options too. I mean, I've talked to several people. I'm talking to Robert Pons about this weekend. He's gone 12 shows without selling a snake. It blows my mind. 12 shows straight without selling a single animal.
And he stays behind his table and he talks to people.
He's got nice stuff. It's good price. We talked about it before we were done. I was talking to Flavius and Margie and Aaron about it, and but he's got other options. He's got some hognose and some clear brids they're trying to get into, so they're varying what they have. But that truly is what it's like, and what you see is that, I mean, my math people know what sine and cosine. You see this graph, this wave graph, right? And you see everyone at the top. Well, when that starts peaking, people start buying into all these projects and start breeding, but it's going to hit its peak. And it hit its peak when the economy started crashing. And so it's falling again tremendously quickly. And they have no outlet to get rid of these animals. So they have to keep feeding them. They have to keep taking care of them. They have to keep keeping them warm. They're going to keep going to shows. They're going to keep posting them on Morph Markets. But there's just too many. It's a competitive market. And then what you're seeing is the stuff that should be holding its value and keeping the market strong on certain genetics. They're all falling because 10, 15 people that are on this project start panicking because they can't pay their feeder bill every month, and they start selling them below wholesale, and you start seeing these bidding wars and price wars. And it's the epitome of what a market crash is if you look at it from an economic standpoint with stocks, but you're looking at it with animals right now. You're seeing it firsthand. But there's other things that are on the rise. You see this crested gecko market's gone crazy, with the axanthic and the lily white axanthic that was posted for 36 grand. And, but that's also a foreign market trade because the people that were in Vegas that did 400 grand at that show, from what we were told was it was a bunch of people from Korea coming and buying those. And that's something that people don't know about sulcatas or MBKs or snow snakes, that stuff usually goes over to foreign markets for things that we don't like to discuss as reptile breeders. And so when you see those markets close down, especially the Chinese market, then people are left with an abundance of inventory, mouths to feed, and they don't know what to do. So they have fire sales, and that's what causes the crash. So I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure John would probably be able to give us the stats on if that's the most ball pythons that have been listed. But again, I'm not trying to pick on ball pythons. It's just very obvious right now that's
well,
that's the most in your face right now is the ball python market. And I've talked to big breeders. I've talked to some breeders that agree and others that don't. It's just got how they're going to be. There's a lot of them that'll wade through it. They'll be fine. And the smart ones, what they're going to do is they're going to wait for all these people to start having those fire sales. They're going to buy entire collections of some really good genetics, and they're going to start holding on to those and start readying those to breed. So when it peaks again, when there is more demand than supply, they'll be on top of the game. And that's what people that last a long time in this business do. They study that. It doesn't matter if it's leopard geckos, crested geckos, hognose, anything. You have to see where the market's going and follow those trends.
I don't think that, and like I said, I don't think the ball python market is done. Some people have been preaching for 10 years that it's going to crash and be over with. But I think that if you're not, the ones that are making money are selling much higher end stuff, right? They can sell one ball python at $5 grand, and that's a good snake, right? If you're out there selling at this point 1 and 2 gene animals, and people have a whole table full of what looks pretty much the same, you're probably going to have a show where you sell maybe one or no snakes. It's very hard when there's someone there that's selling some of the higher end stuff, because they're going to move more because they're more it's more specific for what they have at their table versus everyone having pastels, right? Everyone's got the basic stuff in a show, and they can go to anyone in that show, and
there are 3,243 visual clowns on Morph Market right now.
That's insane.
And there's 3,600 visual pieds.
And so it's just,
there's about 10,000 clowns, either visuals or hets right now on.
If you notice in chat, Ashley said that most of hers are going to Europe and Korea. For some reason, the Korean market is buying all these axanthics and lily white crested geckos, and they're pushing the prices up. So jump on the train while you can, but know it's going to fall. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to hit that peak, and it's going to hit a valley. You just have to know when the timing of that's right and try to get ahead of it.
If you're trying to get on the crested lily white axanthic train now, you're too late. You're way too late. You need to figure out what's going to be next and try and jump on that if that's where your intentions are.
Well, that was the problem with all the ball pythons. Everybody had all this money to throw at them, and people were glad to sell what they had.
Ashley can tell us. She's in the chat. Ashley, how long have you been doing that project? She'll get back to us. We don't have to wait.
I made a comment about that the other day about how long ago it was when I saw that first one. I freaked out when I saw it on her table and she was Method Noir.
Yep. Yeah, you commented on it. I have her post up, actually. I was going to read it, that she made yesterday about how they do 6 years. So
6 years on that project. 6
years into that project.
On that project. Like that's one project.
Right.
Whereas a lot of these people, when it comes to stuff, have been in it since 2019.
Right.
Yeah.
And those people also, and I've said this before, I'm not saying they're not reptile people, but they're not people that were around in the hobby for a long time and really they jumped in, and it seemed like a good idea at the time because everybody else around them was doing really well. Because let's face it, 2019 and 2020 were the best years ever if you were selling reptiles.
Yep.
But if you're not in it because it's just something you like, you've gotten to this point where now it's just costing you money and it's not fun, and you're seeing people sell these collections off and getting rid of stuff because they weren't really reptile people. They thought the hobby looked fun.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and I think you get a mix of those. I think you get people that also, like I said, they finally had an opportunity to spend the money on some projects that they wanted to work on. They may have been working on other stuff.
Yeah.
But they went in full force because there was all this influx of extra cash, so they're spending all the extra money that they normally wouldn't have. And when you're doing that, you're buying more and more females, you're breeding more, you're buying incubators, you're going all out, you're gearing up because you're thinking, oh, I'm going to make it now. I can actually produce the numbers to break even at the end of the year on my supplies and everything. And that's where we go into reptonomics thing I was saying about, but and then everything comes to a screeching halt. So what do they do with those animals? Well, they get rid of them and they sell them fast and they sell them quick. And there are people that stand around and will stand on the other side of the room from, a one vendor against a wall and say, that guy's selling his shit for 75% of what well, go fucking buy them.
That's what Andy does.
Go buy that. Go buy them.
Yeah.
I've bought entire collections at shows before of geckos. Like, just go buy them. Stop bitching about it. Go buy them.
I think it was at this last Austin show. Somebody on Friday or Saturday morning had a whole table full of colubrids that were, I think they were hognose that were like wholesale price. And Andy's like, nope, I'll buy your whole table. I don't want you killing the price in here. And I'll make money. Andy will keep the ones he wants and then sell them.
Yep. Exactly.
The vendor was happy. They didn't have, they sold everything they had first thing.
Yeah. Well, but you're gonna see a lot of that. You're gonna see a lot of those people that barely get their shirts printed and just got a new banner, have just started in the industry, selling out of their entire collections very quickly.
Yeah. Yep.
Just because they cannot afford to keep them. You're not moving. It takes money to do this. It takes money to put, to put everything into this. It takes a lot of money, and it's not just freebies, So, once you get to that point where your expenses are outweighing what you're able to, bring in as far as profit is concerned, not just sales, profit, then you have to. What are you going to do? Keep losing money? Nobody wants to do that.
Right.
So, but I've seen it with so many different species over the years, and I've talked to people about this before, and there's some people that get it, and there's some people that do not believe it's a thing. And I'm telling you, it is a thing. It is something that has been witnessed many, many, many times over, never fails. It's always a couple of species here, a couple of species there. It just depends on how the market is. Like I said, this one was crazy because everybody had all the extra money. So
look at Mexican black king snakes. 5 years ago you can give them away, and then 3 years ago and 2 years ago the babies were selling for $200 to $400 each, and now $125, $150 is what you might get for them. They went way, but a lot of that was the foreign market pushing it up because
foreign market.
Yep. Hey, I just saw Peyton walk by.
Well, also matter people invested, but I don't think people understand what investing in a reptile project means. It doesn't mean watching Justin Kabilka's videos and going, all right, I'm going to buy 2 of the genes in that 5 gene animal he has, and I'm investing.
Yeah.
You're already behind. He just made that animal that's got 5 genes. You're not
he
doing
made
shit.
He made several of those animals last year.
Yeah.
And is just telling you about it now because he's a smart businessman and he holds on to his projects to keep it a strong market.
That's right.
And there's nothing wrong with the way that, because that's how that works. You've got to be smart enough that if you want to get, look at Bob's Balls, right? He's a relatively new guy, but he went in and said, all right, I'm going to invest.
Mm-hmm.
And he invested in the stuff to become one of the top ball python people, not invested at the bottom and think that he's going to grow it. He went ahead and got to the top.
I think Bob and Dave actually vended like our very first New Orleans show. But David was doing blue tongues. Levinson, crazy ass.
Yeah.
He was doing blue tongues more than anything at that time. And but like Bob's been around for a bit, but Bob's a marketing genius too. He's funny as shit. So I love Bob. But again, it was something that he's built to get to the point, It's not something that's been overnight. And the same thing with Kabilka. It's not something that was overnight,
Kabilka's been in early when it was, when they were paying however much for a pastel and it was ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you see this time and time again, and people pop up and they're like, where the fuck did this guy? Well, that guy's been doing his work. He's been putting in work for a long time to get to this point.
Yeah.
So here's a great example. The guy that produced that Stormtrooper ball python a few years back.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Name his company.
I don't even remember who it is now.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Well, I
it
mean,
was
I'm
a
the one who's
random fucking thing.
Googling
And you know what he did?
I don't know what it is.
So I don't even know who that guy was, but it came out of nowhere. But they released all of the they started selling them as fast as they could make them.
Ashley had
instead
JD
of
constriction.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, again, that stuff gets flooded in the market, just like anything, So look at the palmettos, the corn snakes. When Travis brought that, when Travis Whistler bought that project, I went to one of the Central Kansas shows, and this guy had. Central Kansas was a small show. I love Robert and Bernetta, but it's a small, little, tiny show. It's like one of each type of species kind of show. But Travis had a fucking like Tinley Park setup. Like he had this like 40-foot fucking banner with lights all over it, and everything was in baskets and all these palmettos and all. It was insane setup. And I think he was selling for like $2,500 a piece at that point.
Dude, I want one of these ball pythons.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead, Shawn.
It's so cool.
There's only one. Stormtrooper has only been produced one time. So yeah.
But that got released and nobody knows what to do with that project. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like now you're stuck with that. But again, if you can't replicate it and hold on to it, when we were doing leopard geckos, we would produce something and be like, you know what, that's pretty cool. We're going to keep that in our projects. We're going to try to line breed this. We would produce 5 or 6 generations of one type of leopard gecko before we said, you know what, this is something that's a little different or something like that. We never produced any new genes. We were one of the first to produce like the Super Typhoons. But again, that was lucky as shit because I got 2 triple het parents and produced it in my first egg.
But see, that's a project. That's an actual project. You took time. You bred out multiple generations. You didn't breed 2 snakes, get babies, sell babies. That's not a project. That's a breeding.
Yeah. Well, and then go ahead, Katie.
Well, I'm still focused on the Stormtrooper. So the pattern hasn't been replicated, but the black and white python, that has been. That's what.
That's the exam thing.
I want a black and white python.
Yeah, but
here's the thing. Here's the thing with ball python genetics, and ball python guys will get all pissed at me. There's probably 500 different names for the exact same homozygous traits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody there's certain ways to get, because we have no fucking clue how genetics work. We really don't. We really have we don't know as much as we think we do. We honestly don't. So like fat tail geckos, for so long, the genetics were considered to be like leopard gecko genetics. But where do they fucking come from? They come from fucking Africa, where ball pythons are. So their genetics actually work more like fucking ball python genetics than leopard gecko genetics. But I mean, even the big names like Ron was throwing out new names for stuff, and that's marketing. That's marketing. And we got in arguments with Ron about stuff like that. But he could go to Japan and sell them for $15,000 when we were scrounging to sell them for $100 in the United States. Same exact thing. So. It just depends on how long you're willing to hold on to these projects. Now, with ball pythons, again, you're looking at mass production of all these different genetics, and everybody's chasing that new thing, which is probably the only reason why people still buy imports, because there's bound to be something new, right? And there's always something new that comes along. But a lot of those guys that are been doing it, like you said, they're projects. They've worked with it for years and years and years. And they've seen something a little different here and a little different there, and they've kept it to themselves, and they've worked out all these lines until they get to their final, product. But again, you have to stay ahead of the game, not behind it. If you jump in now, like you said, you're toast. You're not going to be able to compete.
Yep.
Well, that's why I tell people you need to find the reptile you like. Find the reptile you like. If it's ball python, that's fine. You like them, breed them, whatever. But if you find that weird thing that you like and no one else is doing, then do it. Do it really well, and then in 4 or 5 years, come forward and go, look, guys, I've got this. I've been doing this for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and no one else is really doing them, and you'll sell them.
The problem is that people are scared. the people that are doing that are scared that if they wait, they'll miss their chance. Because it's like a rite of passage to have a world's first. I see world's first like 10 times a day on different posts. This is a world's first. It's a world's first. No, it's if you break it down allelically, it's the same fucking thing that this guy produced 5 years ago. You know, you just put a different name on it. So.
Well, and like you talked about earlier, I don't think people, if you're wanting to do this as a business, so I don't do it as a business, and I'll talk about my side in a second, but go to what you're talking about. People don't take into account costs, like actual costs. If you can't tell someone, if someone asks you what's it cost to feed your snakes for a month and you don't know that number, that's not a business. Because that's a cost.
Now, what is your bedding bill? What is your paper towel bill? How much electricity are you pulling from your facility that goes into that? How much are your travel expenses? Like, what are your shipping costs? Like, none of that, all that stuff should go into what's your water bill like? You know what I'm saying? So whenever a guy walks up at a show and he has produced this animal and he's had it, say it's an adult ball python and he's had it for 4 years, right? He produced it. What is the actual cost into that snake?
Yeah.
All the feed, all the care, and he's selling it for $200. He's lost money. You're not making $200 in that snake. You're not. Right. You're probably losing $200 at least by selling that snake.
Easy.
So, and that's where people kind of get lost in that. They're like, oh, I went to the show and I did, I did $4,000 in sales, but what is your profit? How much did you actually make? Break it down, like really focus on it. And I think if more people did that, they would understand that it's not as easy as it seems, because they'll brag about, I made $4,000 this weekend. Well, that's just going to make the next guy, the other guy that wants to get into it, jump the gun and jump into the same projects you're doing and saturate that market all over again. So like breaking down the numbers is something that most vendors and people really need to look at. Like that's why I said it's reptonomics. You're looking at what it cost you, just like any other business. Like you said, you have your margins, right? You have your profit margins that you're trying to reach. So what's your goal when you're breeding a ball python? By the time you've produced that animal, you thought you were going to get on this brand new groundbreaking project and it was selling for like bananas. Perfect example. One year they're 1,500, the next one they're 150. Like it's just like all those people that spent that much money on those bananas got screwed because the market got completely saturated with them.
Well, that's why you got to understand also genetics at that point. If you're investing in an incomplete dominant trait, it's going to crash much faster than a recessive trait. And if you're only investing in a single trait at this point in reptiles, when it comes to the common stuff, single gene animals don't mean shit anymore, really. So if you're investing, don't go out and buy that single gene, whatever. You're going to go out and buy something that maybe 2 visual genes and a het for something. And then something over here that's also 2 genes and a het for something, or a visual. And then you can breed together and get 4 or 5 genes in an animal.
Yeah.
Right. If you're trying to make the money. Now, if you are trying to produce whatever you want because of the way you like the way it looks, then breed the best looking bananas you want. Just understand that you're going to be breeding a snake that's going to be kind of hard to sell because it's just how that is.
Yeah, there's too many of them.
But do you think that like in 10 years from now, it'll still be that saturated?
No, I think there's always an ebb and flow. It's gonna get to the point where a lot of these people that are brand new into it are gonna wash out. Like 30% of these guys, at least 30% of these guys that started in late 2019, 2020, early 2021, when everyone was flush with cash, they're going to be out of it, right?
Yep.
So the guys that are holding on to these projects, the smart guys, are going to hold on to the projects, build up their inventory. So when the market comes back, they're going to have animals ready to go. So it's up and down, up and down, up and down. So this is probably one of the biggest like I don't remember ever. Of course, morph market's still fairly new, but I don't remember seeing this much saturation in the market. And everybody bitches about, there's too many ball pythons at shows. Well, again, keystone animal, right? So what a lot of people start with. So I don't think that you're going to see it where it's just absolutely every table is a ball python vendor. I don't see that because there's a lot of the people that work with different species that keep the variety there, and a lot of those guys are probably going to branch out into other projects too.
Well, I think a lot of folks
if you're a snake guy, you're a snake guy.
That's right.
They're going to branch into other species for sure, because I think they're going to see. I mean, we've seen hog noses have kind of picked up, especially some of the projects of hog noses have gone up. I think some of the colubrids are going to go up.
Yeah, you're starting to see more and more people getting corn snakes again.
Yeah,
I'm starting to sell more and more stuff to people.
Oh no, we lost Shawn
with corn snakes.
We'll get Shawn back in a second.
Is it us?
I don't think so. Normally, when he goes out like that, he's also. I don't know. Douglas Ray White said you can also breed too many genes into a ball python, and you can't ID what the morphs are, which is also true.
Oh, that makes sense.
Up there, Shawn. Let me add him back in. There he is. He's back. Welcome back, Shawn.
That's weird. Yeah. I saw some captive born and bred ATVs this weekend.
Oh, really?
In New Orleans. Yeah. Haven't seen those in a long time.
Yeah.
They were really nice too. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's
you'll see some different stuff.
Did they ever find that other ball python?
Nope. I guarantee you it's in somebody's box.
Yeah, they'll find it.
Well,
Yeah.
we had
Hope they unpack their box.
we had April Linkfield on, and she talked about having the file snakes. Right?
Yep.
There's not a lot of people that breed them, so whenever she produces file snakes, they sell. She's not worried about selling those things because she found something that was an import that was a cheap snake. You know, that everybody looked at as disposable, and took it on as a project and breeds them. And she sells every single one of them. She does it with her house snakes. She sells really nice house snakes.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to find where they're going to have to get into. They don't have to, but they're going to get into projects. They're going to realize maybe ball pythons aren't what they really, really like. They did it because that was the market. And now they're going to branch out and find the things they really like. Maybe they really do like lychees or cresteds or, you know, gargoyles or whatever it is. They like something else. They just don't know it.
Yeah.
right.
Lisa Torberg in Oklahoma is producing sunbeams in captivity.
See, that's
cool.
Wow.
That's super cool.
That's, again, another disposable snake. And I don't mean this because I think this, but a disposable import snake that many sunbeams.
Oh, yeah.
So many have come in.
Yeah.
You see them sold in the show and you go, well, that's going to die. That's not going to make it.
Yeah.
But I think a captive population of that is going to be great because that's going to lead them to becoming a better pet snake.
Yeah.
Canal side exotics, and fuck them because they're Canadian, and you know that not because they told us that before, but they did, but because of this statement. They saw some Fiji iguanas at the last Canadian Reptile Breeders Expo. Yes, we get it. Y'all gonna have Fiji iguanas up there.
We will never see them here.
Shut the fuck up,
Somebody's
Canada.
a little bitter.
Yes,
man.
because they are really cool.
Yeah, they are.
And it's
They are
stupid
cool.
that they get to have them up there and we don't get to have them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
poor James.
We get stuck with fucking green iguanas.
Yeah.
Hey, Shawn found a copperhead on his porch last night.
Yeah,
Was it
nice one.
right out there
Actually-
where you go to smoke?
No, it was actually on the back porch. Haley actually found it. Then she thought she was like, there's a nest of them somewhere. I'm like, there's not a nest of them, baby.
You've got
So I
to
went-
teach your kids better.
Yeah, so I went, well, she thought she saw one go under a chair and another one come out from under another chair. So I flipped everything over and it was just that one.
He was
Man,
nervous.
I went and released it. So, yeah, that's the first snake I've actually seen here. They've seen coach whips and rough greens. And, well, we did find a little rough earth snake in the house. Well, Lori found one. That was funny.
But that was
The
fun.
one person who you don't want to find a snake.
Well, yeah, exactly. But there's supposed to be cane breaks out here.
That'd be cool.
Close to OSR, like down the road from me. But I don't have time to go look for shit, you know. So
Last time I was
It
there, I
finds me.
looked on iNaturalist, and there's several of them have been tagged in your area right there.
yeah.
So
When you talk about those,
Lee Reddy's in the chat, and we released the episode that had Lee's interview on it last week.
Mhm.
But Lee breeds amazing panther chameleons, right? And so that's a project he's going to sell those babies because they're great looking and people are going to want them. He's going to sell them. He found a project. Everybody just needs to, if you are.
Lee's been doing this for a lot longer than most of us have too.
Yeah.
And so like when you talk to Lee, just the passion in his voice talking about the chameleons. Like Lee and I vended like our first NARBC together. We shared tables in NARBC. I had leopard geckos and he had chameleons, and I know you talked to him, and was it Conrad or Brian about breeding all the bugs and like katydids and stuff like that. And
That was cool. Though.
yeah. So yeah, Lee and Amanda are awesome people. I'm so glad that they're back in it now because they're like some of the best people for the hobby to come back into the hobby. There's no drama with them. They breed amazing animals. They're completely upfront and honest there, but they help everyone.
I was going to say
They've kind of taken Adam under their wing from Lone Star Panthers and helped him out
and he
tremendously.
breeds another one who breeds amazing looking panther chameleons.
Yes, he does.
But those are an animal that I know when I got into the hobby were kind of, I mean, one, they were expensive, but they were like, they're super fragile. But when you talk to like Lee and when we interviewed him, it made us be like, oh no, I can actually keep these and it may not die.
Yeah. Lee was the person that convinced me that chameleon ownership and propagation wasn't as bad as it was cracked up to be. So, I ended up producing some animals from Lee in my house. So, it's like now I can use that knowledge we do that at the shop too. We have some really nice panthers at the pet store, and we're very upfront with people about it. And it's again, but our husbandry has changed because of technology and things we've been able to talk to with people too. Keeping has advanced over the past 10 years tremendously.
Oh man, yeah.
Our knowledge of taking care of animals the right way, and we still don't know everything, but we're getting better for sure.
I just want to give a shout out. It's Reddy's Rainforest. If anybody wants to look up their chameleons, Reddy's Rainforest. But so talking about shows, there's been a show on every Facebook page for the last week because of a certain topic. So the Tinley show, right?
Yeah.
The NARBC Tinley show has been mentioned in every reptile group for the past week because of a law that Illinois is now going to enforce, a law that apparently has been on the books, but now they're going to enforce that all of the animals at the Tinley Park show have to have a vet certificate. Now, when the news first came out, it was released as every animal that comes into Illinois would have to have a vet certificate.
Yeah. I was going to say, it has since changed though.
That everyone went crazy. And then it went to every shipment per species has to have it. So if you come in with a whole shipment of baby red tail boas, say shipment, a whole litter of baby red tails, the litter needs to have a certificate, not every single baby, which is more doable. And then they have since now come out today or yesterday with an update.
I think I shared it yesterday.
And it said that in order to, I'll read it. This is what they said, and so I'll go ahead and read it. In order to facilitate Illinois animal health import requirements for the 2022 North American Reptile Breeders Conference in Tinley Park on October 8th and 9th, yada, yada, the following guidance is being provided for conference promoters, vendors, and vendor veterinarians. Reptiles and other vertebrates are required to be listed by species on a certificate of veterinary inspection. They do not need to be listed individually. An entry permit is to be obtained online by the issuing veterinarian. If the vendor is unable to meet these requirements, the animals must be checked by the conference veterinarian on site to obtain the inspection, which that part I thought was important because I think there are a lot of people who don't have a vet that could do this. And that short notice, that's tough. Yes. And I got into some disagreement with some people that were posting comments about the whole situation that if you go there and you have these animals, you should have a vet anyways. And so this is my view. And I go back to what we talked about, business versus what I do. I don't breed reptiles for a business. I don't vend shows as a business. I don't plan anything as a business expense because I saw that thrown around a lot. All these costs are a business expense. They're not for someone like me. They're a cost. I don't do a show to pay bills, right? If I can cover my table and cover the weekend, I'm happy because I got to go hang out at a show, right? And I get it. If you're a business, you can't have that mentality.
Oh, yeah.
But there are a lot of small scale breeders like myself who breed one or two species and have one or two litters a year that the original way this was posted was going to pretty much make it impossible for them to show up in Tinley, even if they already had a table planned, because they weren't going to be able to get it done.
It was going to cost thousands.
Yeah, it was going to cost too much for someone who's selling a litter of sand boas, whatever. Right? Like the certificates could have cost the same as what they were going to make off the animals. And so I think this is better. I don't know what the cost is going to be at the conference to have the veterinarian look at it. I assume it's not going to be free. So I'm not sure of that, but I do like that they have made it easier.
I'm sure it's going to be I'm sure that's going to be kind of, but I think that's going to be kind of crazy if people wait until they get there,
Yeah. Which
like everyone all at once.
If you have a vet that can do it, That's great. And I understand the bigger breeders, they have a vet that they can call. They have that guy that can come to their facility and look at them. But those aren't the breeders that like myself, in 2019, I went to Tinley. And that's where I bought my Indian sand boas from one dude at a table in the corner who had like 6 Indian sand boas on the table. And that was it. Right. That would not have been feasible for someone like that.
It's not. Yeah. Exactly. Like I could, if I was taking animals from my pet shop, I could call Dr. Heatley and she'd come by and give me all my certificates. Now, I think that the law is in place for good reason. Obviously, I don't like overreaching but if it means that the animals are going to be healthier and better taken care of, maybe, I could see that, being okay, but so close. And I'm sure Brian got it sprung on him last minute. So at least he's actually working to help, by getting a vet in there. And I think, they're working with him. So I think it's good. I'm glad that there's at least something that makes it a little bit easier, because it was mass panic for a while. It's like,
people lost their shit.
Yeah. People are like, oh, the show's ruined. I'm like, man, people jumped the gun. Like, let this evolve. I'm sure Brian and Bob have been working their butts off trying to get it figured out, obviously, so that's, that having a vet there to check everything seems more feasible. But again, you're checking if somebody's bringing in 500 ball pythons, how do you have time to get a certificate? Because it's per species, but they still are supposed to look at every single animal.
Well, and so there's so many issues. So Dax is in the chat from D&T Retakes. He said that it's $50. I'm assuming that that's when you get there, it'll be $50 for them to look at that collection of species. I can't imagine per animal, because if it's per animal, that's still no. But
insane. the original to get the CVI per species, your vet had to check off. You have to have every animal listed, and the vet has to look at every single animal. That's the way the CVI works in most states.
Let's also look at some issues where I have things aren't going to work out. So the bigger breeders, let's face it, some of these people can have a vet come and sign something for them and leave and never put a hand on an animal.
Yeah, 5 minutes are there.
Let's be realistic. That's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Just like when I was a project manager, I had certain inspectors that they'd roll their window down as they drove by. Yep, looks good. Here's your tag. It
hadn't fallen down. You're good.
Yep.
So let's not pretend that every person that shows up there with a certificate has had every animal checked. And then the second problem is
that's not going to happen.
Yeah, just because an animal comes there looking healthy, we know that doesn't mean that it's free of Nido or rhinovirus or any of these other viruses. Like that can still happen. So everybody talking about how this bill will now make it so that you don't get sick animals at shows. You don't get animals at shows with obvious RIs, right? That they probably won't show up.
Yeah.
Or maybe covered in mites. They won't show up. But you can still spread all the stuff that we're really afraid of. I'm not afraid of an RI. I am afraid of mites. I don't want to fucking do that again. But
that stuff takes time to do blood work and shit. That's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, yes, on paper, it looks like this is going to help legitimize some of this show. But we know it's not in certain situations. There's going to be people at that show, and we know the people that are going to have animals on the table that we know we would not touch if we were there, no matter what.
Sorry.
Right. And they will sell those animals, and just like they have every other year. And I'm sure they will have their paperwork signed by some vet somewhere saying that every single one of them was healthy.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Now, if that happens and they have this CVI and this vet signs off on it and that animal dies or gets sick or whatever, where does the liability fall? Does it fall back on the person who has it, or does it go back to the vet?
Oh, the person who has it's going to say, well, it was healthy when I brought it here.
Yeah.
That's going to be their argument. The vet said it was healthy. You have to trust the vet. They're licensed. I said it was healthy. It died in your care. Well, something happened once I got here, not me.
That's part of the reason that people, I think, we're having a problem, because there's not a lot of vets that would actually sign off on that. So you guys know who Cord Offerman is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Cord and I had a conversation a few weeks ago. We had a friend reach out to us in Austin that had I think it was a gaboon, may have been a squam. I think it was a squam that had an RI. Frantically trying to find a vet. Vet's not a single vet in the entire Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth area would touch the snake. because
How
of the
come?
liability. Because of the
It
liability
was a hot.
of treating a
I
venomous.
didn't know what a squam was.
Yeah, of treating a venomous snake.
I was gonna Google it
Those are the
because
ones
that's
that
what I do.
So-
Alexander has the bright color little.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
his
Oh,
comment
okay.
to me was that but besides the investors and the partners in the vets business is the insurance companies. They would drop them like fucking instantly if they found out that they had a venomous snake in their doing lab. Now, if they go on their own and they do a house call, then they chance losing their license if they do get bit because they're not covered by their insurance and their investors don't know about it. So again, that's where this is something that's interesting is I think that a lot of the vets weren't willing to do that because of the liability. If they really understand the liability of signing off on 50 wild caught Florida iguanas, health checks, you know what I'm saying? Health certificate, like what happens when they die and somebody just crazy enough decides to sue the person or the vet who signed off and said they were healthy? What are their insurance companies and partners going to say then? You know?
Yeah, that's a lot of information to definitely think about.
Yeah, it is. That's a lot of things. That's probably something that a lot of people haven't thought about because there's a lot of people that's like, oh, I found a loophole. I can just do it when I get there. Or I can have my buddy that's a vet just come by and I'll give him my list and he'll fax it back to me or what it faxed. Did I just say fax? Yeah, not fax. Email it back to me. Yeah.
Hey, people still fax.
Showing
People
my age.
still send fax.
Yeah, well, some vets' offices actually still do. So you see, like, where does it end, like, with that? So, I mean, I think that since it's only 2 weeks from the show, that it's going to be a little madhouse for the first one, but hopefully they'll get it figured out because, you know, that show needs to go on and it needs to have good people there. It needs to have good breeders. It's a great, great show. So, which I still haven't been able to get to, but it's one of those shows that we really need. You know,
and D&D just sent me a message. They sent me the post from NERBC where it says health certificates will be $50 at show. That's all it says. So again, I'm assuming that means the one per species. So if you have multiple species, I would imagine that's a $50 per
species.
But is okay? That could get
so
pricey.
But if you have 20 vendors show up to this vet on Friday for setup, and they have 200 of this and 200 of that and 200 of that, how are they going to do this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Logistically, it's going to be a nightmare.
Well, and that was my next question was, are they getting cleared when they get to the show? Like there's a vet there that will be clearing them or they have
That's
to bring
what it
that with
sounds
them?
like.
And when they
Because it sounds like when they get there, and like you said, logistically,
it's when they get
you
there.
have one person checking everyone, holy
Yeah,
shit.
could you
that in and
imagine,
of
could you
itself
imagine
take
Mike
all weekend.
Wilbanks showing up?
Or, I mean, could you imagine if Triple
Yeah.
L, I mean, Triple L, I'm sure will show up with their signed papers. But
Does
imagine if
Triple L do Tinley?
yeah. Imagine if Triple L showed up to have Tinley do it. I mean, Triple L has, I don't know how many species on their table.
Oh, probably. They probably have 150, 200 species at least.
So like all different types of colubrids, each one,
Colubrids.
whatever.
So
each
you're
one
talking,
would have to have
Yes,
clearance.
each species.
Damn.
yeah, you're talking $5 to $10,000.
I mean, even just somebody like Russell.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell has all these different species on his table.
Which is again why some of these larger people will show up with their certificates, and then you just have to question: did a vet check all 150 species?
How valid are they? Yeah,
you know.
God, I mean, but with that being said, that vet's license could be on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's what I was bringing up, the liability issue. What happens if something goes wrong? You know, they get a health certificate on something that has NIDO or IDB or something. You know,
so Lee Reddy just posted.
Well, I was gonna do the first one up there.
Okay.
Where he's talking about he gets the point of it, but if you run a show like Shawn does, where he and his crew walk around checking tables, and not just Shawn checks tables. If I see something, Robert sees something. If any of the vendors see something, we're saying and it's not to be a snitch on somebody. That's not the whole goal there. But we know what can happen to a show if you let too many of those things happen, right? And it's hard for Shawn to see something. So sometimes stuff is not there on setup, and it shows up there at noon on Saturday on a table, and he didn't see it.
Yeah, Peyton's done a great job of that recently. He's done a really good job of catching stuff that I've missed. But I mean, like I said, like you said perfectly, other vendors, they'll come to me instantly and say, "Hey, something doesn't look right on this table," and I'll go address it right there. But I can't catch everything.
Well, in the next comment that he made, it said that he actually knows very few vets that know chameleons, that actually know the species. And that wild caught reptiles and chameleons can carry bloodborne parasites. So how are you going to know if they have that?
There's going to be 500 wild caught Florida veiled chameleons there in tow case.
There's going to be mites there just because it's the nature of a show that big and how it is. It's going to have. So like, to me, it becomes, I don't know. It doesn't serve the purpose I think that it originally was written for, unless the original purpose was to try and get money for the state. And these are just all permits for the state, which trust me, I'm from Louisiana. That's how they do shit there. So
the politics are fucking Louisiana.
So that could have been what it was. But like I said, I thought that when I saw this, Kabilka's not going to have a problem with this. And I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm just saying the way his logistics are, he wouldn't have a problem with having to do this. You know, Bob Vu's not going to, Triple L's not going to. But that guy with one table of carpet pythons or whatever, he's probably going to have an issue with the way this originally was. Yeah. So
I hope that they figure it out. I hope it goes smooth for him. I know it's going to be probably, like I said, it's probably going to be a clusterfuck the first time, but hopefully they'll get a system down and people will be better prepared for it going into it. And you know, maybe this time it's going to be a little more lax because it is such a new thing. I mean, it's not a new thing, but it's being enforced, you know, newly enforced. But hopefully people will be more prepared. But it might still dissuade some of these other guys that have done Tinley not to do it anymore, you know?
That's true.
I mean, some of them may be able to, you may weed out some of the ones they're trying to weed out. I just hope it doesn't weed out some of the ones who have really nice animals and just can't afford to do what they do. Right. So
it goes back to the cost of doing business.
Yeah. And like I said, and that's kind of the problem when it's not a business for some, because that's our hobby is for a lot of people is just a hobby. And I think some of the people that are in it purely as business.
Well, yeah, and a lot of hobbyists, you don't have regular health checks for your animals. You don't take your animals to the vet every 6 months.
No.
You don't go like when you do a dog, like for vaccines and things like that with snakes, you know. If you notice something wrong, sometimes it's too late, but if you notice something wrong, then you're going to the vet, you know, and hopefully everyone at least that owns an exotic has a vet that they can trust that has some sort of knowledge that deals with exotics. I mean, I'm very lucky where I live. There's probably 20 vets in Bryan College Station that I could go to with whatever I need, but I actually have the person who teaches the vet students as my vet.
There's a vet school where you live.
Well, and you also have a vendor. You also have a vendor who teaches vet students who had them all at the show.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Audrey. Yeah. She had them there Saturday morning, and that was awesome. They got to go around and talk to so many vendors and breeders. And
like I said, I saw some of the argument when that came out, it hit every Facebook page, and I saw some of the arguments. Some of the larger breeders, I think some of them maybe forget that not everybody's doing this to make money, right? And so things that cost extra money may be the cost of business for them, but when it's just supposed to be a fun hobby, it becomes a burden. And I think that that's not good, because there are a lot of small scale breeders that are not doing this as a business that make amazing animals. Yeah.
But you know, you got a hard line against this, James. I'm not trying to call you out on this, but there still can be people that do this as a business that love it as a hobby, though.
No. I'm not saying there's not. I feel there are also people that do it with a pure business mindset.
Oh, absolutely. There 100% are. We know a lot of those people.
Yeah.
We sit next to them at shows.
Yes.
Like they will tell you exactly what they think, you know. I literally had a vendor tell me they're selling the skin of the animal. That's all they care about. They're selling the skin. Oh, fuck. Hang on a second. Get the fuck back. Big fucking wolf spider just crawled across my foot, so I'm sending it to my shoe toad.
Gotta love in the country, man.
Like I said, I'm not saying that people that run it as a business can't also love the hobby, but we know that there are two sides. That there are those that run it as a business because they love the animals, and there's those that run it as a business because you can sell animals.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I wasn't. Like I said, I wasn't trying to call you out on that, but it's still a gray area with a lot of those people. Like I mean, I still love going to the shop, and it's a business to me, but I still interact and try to be as much as I can lately, be up there and see all the cool stuff. But, you know, I'm lucky enough to have a good staff that they are in absolutely love with all the animals. So it's a business to me, but it's still a passion, and it always will be. So.
Well, Ashley Howdy said maybe
we're talking about new
more...
projects, by the way. We're trying to breed the Mexican Sicilians.
Oh, I remember seeing those. You got those
Cool.
at 2 Brian shows ago.
Mm-hmm.
I remember those. That's the first time I'd ever seen Sicilians in real life, outside of pictures, and they're just as fucking weird in real life as they are in pictures. If anybody doesn't know what a Sicilian is, it's an amphibian that looks like a giant worm, but with a mouth.
Trimmers.
Yeah,
they look like graboids.
They're an amphibian, so they are kind of moist. They have to stay wet. They found in Central and South America.
They're like gigantic earthworms with fucked up teeth.
Okay, so this also makes me think of the sandworms from Beetlejuice. So we were totally off topic. We were at Home Depot because nobody ever thinks to look at Home Depot for Halloween supplies and decorations, and they have
Mario and Brandy.
They have the cutest freaking sandworm that you press the tail and it dances and plays the Beetlejuice theme song.
I love sandworms.
It was so cute. Anyways.
But anyways, so
we're also trying to breed croc skinks.
Oh, cool.
Yes, I knew about this one. I already knew about this because I talked to Bergoli about this.
Yeah. We have California red side garters.
So see, but that's
the California red side garters are doing awesome.
Those are small projects that anyone could get into those. Those aren't untouchable projects that people couldn't do. No. They just take time and focus. And if you do them,
awesome garters this week. Sorry, I didn't mean to
cut
you off, James. I straight up did
that.
Good. Somebody had some awesome garters at the show this weekend because Rachel told me twice you need to go look at
one kid that does there's a kid down there that does garters.
Dylan
right?
wasn't there. We're not going to talk about Dylan.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we talked to Dylan today. He's fine.
I talked to him too. He messaged me back finally.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but there's some cool projects that we want to work on. Like I didn't buy anything. I was specifically forbidden by my employees to purchase any animals this weekend because I've been loading up for the expansion. But we have some viper boas we want to try to breed.
I love viper boas.
We got the California red sides, the Ackies hopefully have bred. I may be talking to Luke about getting his pair of Mertens monitors for that big enclosure that we're building.
That'd be cool.
So that'd be cool too. So we have a few things here and there that all the micro geckos, all of the Phelsuma stuff is like the Climmers. And Lee was messaging me actually last night asking me if I knew anybody that was breeding Climmerized because he wants to trade some Simbabas. I'm like, well, actually, we have a bunch of them at the shop that we breed. So, but we've got some cool stuff that we're working on that's kind of out of the ordinary, hopefully
again,
we'll be able
that's what these people that are struggling here or there could do. They could find these odd things that we normally walk through a show and just walk right past and don't think about. But if you can breed those in captivity, like again, if you can breed the crocodile skinks on a regular basis in captivity, that'll be huge. If you can breed the file snakes or the sunbeam snakes or the Sicilians, that's a huge thing. So Ashley Howdy said maybe the Tinley show would become more of a dry goods show. It's easy for someone to say who sells just cages. I'm sure they would love that. But I do want to give them a shout out. I do want to give them a shout out because they did. I'm sure people have seen it. It's been all over Facebook, and I haven't watched the video yet. But they did go out to Canova and put together an amazing display set of cages. Go ahead.
I think that's James that said we have 22 Clemmerai eggs. They're still laid.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot of old.
So, but yeah, that's stuff. I mean, I started breeding green and knolls when I was a kid. And then I went to leopard geckos, and I bred leopard geckos like in mass. But I loved it, but it became an absolute chore, especially after back surgery. And like Lori and my kids were. I mean, we were producing over 1,000 leopard geckos a year.
Amanda already trying to trade with you now.
Yeah, they've been trying to trade. Yeah, that's what Lee was messaging me about last night. So we'll probably have some Sambavas in the store pretty soon. But then when I started getting into monitors, like their intelligence level is on a whole other scale, and I'm super addicted to them now. And we have a guy. We're probably getting Kimberly Rocks.
I think we're getting a pair.
Yeah, we're getting a pair of Kimberly Rocks. No, this guy wanted to trade me. He came in. He's one of our really good customers. We have those the alligator lizards, the little red-sided ones that we produce. Like we had so many babies pop out of those females. They're live bearers. And he wants the entire group. I think there's 12 of them total, including the babies.
Kimberly Rocks, done.
For a pair of Kimberly Rocks. I was like, absolutely. And the only thing is that we had all females, and I found a male at Conroe. The only male that was in the entire building, I bought it. And so, yeah, we're working on a deal with him, so we'll get some Kimberly Rocks too.
A pair of Kimberly Rocks in the shop will look awesome on display.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ashley Howdy, she said the dry goods are much harder to produce than animals. Yes, I agree 100%.
You know what I love though is kind of like where this conversation has gone. Like you're talking about trading or doing this or whatever. I love that in our hobby, and Jennifer with the pink pit bull, we talked about this at the Conroe show. This is the one hobby where you can do that.
Yeah,
you can. You know, and you can do that with other hobbies as well.
Yeah, you don't tend to see people trade hot rods.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't,
I mean,
let me trade you this hot rod for your hot rod.
Restore old cars. You might trade some parts, but that's about it. But, you know, it's really cool that you can do stuff like this.
Well, you know what's funny is you guys remember the chameleon that got lost in shipping that when we were trying to raise money for Blake that I won an auction.
Yeah.
The guy who ended up getting the chameleon, we got his ball python, has bought 3 chameleons from that guy now.
I love it.
He fell in love with them. So
that's so funny.
So one other thing that I saw floating around on Facebook, and I kind of reached out to the person and talked to him about it, but Morph Market announced their partnership with Rare Genetics, and we've had Ben Morrell of Rare Genetics on here before, and we talked about all the different testing they have. They can do sex determination testing, and they were trying to figure out all the ball python genetics testing.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And so now they're teaming up, and I think that's awesome. That's great. But I reached out to them because I asked if they had done any boa stuff, because I know that's not on there. But you know, I hate having possible hets. I own some possible hets right now because it just was too good of a thing, and I couldn't pass it up, and I took them. But I asked him, and I said, "Hey, are you doing any of this?" He said, "No," but he wants information. So I'm just telling anybody out there, if you have boas and they are known genetics and they are known hets, not possible hets, save your sheds and send them to Rare Genetics. Go to Rare Genetics website. And you'll find the instructions on how to do it, how to do all that. But send your boa sheds in. They need as much of a database as possible to get those tests going. And that's just I want that test. I don't care about the ball python test, but I want to know if my things are het albino, and I need to get them to that point. So I think
I want to see them get into lizards and like geckos and monitors and stuff like that too. I really think that would open up a really, really cool part of our hobby.
Lee just said he wanted to test for low-cal purities and low-cals of panther chameleons. And with going back to the boas, I asked him, I said, because I talked to some people who had some stuff that had low-cal, but they had some morph stuff in it. And Ben said, yeah, if they have known locales, he'd love that stuff too. So that could also become a thing.
It could also prove a lot of people wrong.
Yes. I think genetic testing will change the way the hobby is done. I don't think some people want that change to happen.
No.
But I think that it will be better in the long run. Just I think Morph Market coming along was better for the hobby in the long run, because I think price-wise, and then you've been around, Shawn, long enough, prices used to be very crazy all over the place, and people would cut throat, and even more so than they are now. Yeah. But now with everybody goes, how much is that going? And you always hear it shows, I don't know, check Morph Market, see what it's going for.
Morph Market, see what the market looks like,
And that before we had a ton.
It has helped a tremendous amount. And like somebody compared it to the old forums, it's nothing like that. The stuff that John's working on and keeps pushing, and we've already worked out our agreement so that we're actually sponsoring Morph Market, and Morph Market is actually sponsoring HERPS now. So we're getting all the finalized details done, and logos and links and websites and everything up on the website and published. And so, and people ask me all the time, does he think it affects shows? Hell no. I see Morph Market as more of a tool for breeders, right? I see it more of a tool for breeders, not only a tool for breeders, but I see it more of a tool for breeders that are working on projects and working with other people. There are still small hobbyists that post their stuff for sale on there, and that's great. But a lot of those people buying those animals are working with breeding projects and looking for specifics. There's still something to be said about walking into a show and holding a snake in your hand, or a gecko, or a tegu.
The social aspect of going to a show, to me, outweighs anything.
and it's never going to change. It's not gonna change that dramatically, So there's been forums and there's been online sales and mailers and all this stuff done for reptile sales in the past, but shows have always been a place where people come together as hobbyists and friends and family and get together, and you see those trades going on and people working together and helping each other out, and that's just something that's intangible. You can't have that online, you just can't.
Well, it's like at a show. How many times have we seen? I can't tell you how many customers I've had that held their first snake at a show, bought a single tub rack from me, and within a year they're buying multiple snakes, multiple racks, multiple cages, and that would never have happened if they were just shopping online.
Oh yeah.
No, wouldn't. So yeah, we can work hand in hand, work together.
Like I said, and just the social aspect that comes with shows.
Yep.
Far outweighs anything else for me. And again, I've been to other shows growing up that weren't herp shows, and I've seen how other shows work, and it's definitely a different thing in herp shows than it is other shows. And I feel bad for folks that don't get that. And I've seen some of the other groups, like the group, the Atlanta, the Georgia group, they do a lot of the shows together, and there's a big social aspect there with Bob and all of them. I feel bad for the folks that just go to a show, sit at their table, and then go home, and they don't really interact with anybody. They don't go out and hang out. It's like the one-day shows up north. I don't get it. Or I would hate a one-day show where I'm just going to sell stuff and going home.
Or the ones that only stay till noon and then pack up and leave, right, Shawn?
Yeah. that guy was crazy.
Yeah, that happened Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, at noon.
Oh, well.
We saw him go by, and I'm like, where the fuck are they going?
They sell?
They didn't stay at their table. They were walking around the whole time, and then they went and they were like, we haven't sold anything, and left.
Yeah, they weren't ever at their table. They were walking around, and they just packed up their stuff at noon and left.
Shawn's like, "What? You paid for your table?
Oh, well.
So see you later."
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
What?
The first herp show I did.
They walked around, but they didn't talk to anybody. They didn't interact.
They didn't talk to anybody.
No,
they barely talked to us.
It was weird.
See, I could have almost done that the first herp show I did, because I sold 95% of my animals to Andy before the doors opened, and I sat there with 4 or 5 animals on my table the rest of the day. And I got down to the end, and I had 1 snake left, and I was like, Shawn, I'm not coming back tomorrow. I have 1 snake. I'm sorry. But so I had made a post earlier about if anything that people have seen in the hobby and they want to talk about. That's how Shawn brought up the Reptonomics. I was like, it'd be great to come along, because it was kind of what we wanted to talk about. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say
Dax, it was BP Matrix.
Okay. Amanda and Lee must just be like sitting on their couch hanging out.
Sorry, Dax was asking who it was that left.
Which is cracking me up. But Amanda has a very good point. You can educate better in person than you can online. Ashley,
how does it she misses shows? We miss you at shows too.
We do miss seeing you, Ashley. I stalk you on Facebook and feel a little bad about it, but we do. And then Lee said that you just can't beat meeting new people and then showing them and telling them about your animals or things you have or you've produced. Those two are phenomenal at the education side of things.
Okay, so let's talk about, y'all talked about the guy didn't stay at his table all day Saturday and left at noon.
Fabulous.
When we were set up at Brian, we were facing Lee and Amanda. They stood in front of their table for 2 days, talking to every single person that came by, showing them chameleons.
It was awesome.
And they would talk to them until the show ended if they had to.
I think I kind of rubbed off on them, because that's what I used to do. I'd stand in front of my table. Lord, you get so pissed at me. I'd have geckos hanging off my shoulder and shit. I'd be handing geckos to people when they walked by.
Awesome.
And that's what you have to be. You have to be present. You have to be up front. The people and I'm gonna call out all you fuckers on your cell phones. We watched it in Conroe. I said when I was sitting with Corey, I watched 4 customers walk up to this vendor's table, and she was on her phone, and she literally just looked up and kind of glanced at them and just kept going away to her phone. And they're looking and pointing at everything. She never once said hi, bye, kissed my ass, never put her phone down, and just kind of grinned at them. And they just kept walking.
Okay,
and then those are the people that come to me and bitch.
I know where Corey's table was at the show, so now I'm running my head who that was. But
so one of the
they don't need to say.
One of the things that I love though about Amanda and Lee is they knew that like Josephine and I had no intentions of buying a chameleon at all. And they still took their time to answer any questions that we had at all. Like it did not matter.
I don't even remember that whole weekend.
The Bryan College show?
I remember Reese bringing the.
I know
indigo.
this was on Sunday
Like,
because
I
I
don't
didn't
remember.
get to.
I remember interviewing people.
But you don't remember the.
I don't know why.
Front, so it was crazy busy because Lori was at the shop that day, so it was awesome.
The interesting one will be.
Yeah.
But
I remember Saturday night because we had
Yeah.
fun. But yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
but it was it was really refreshing to have people just talk to you and tell you.
No,
about
that's
stuff. And
why
it was so cool.
I was so happy to have them back. I really was. I'm so glad that they're back in the circuit. And again, you can't beat the quality of the animals, but yeah, they're just amazing people. They've always been. We haven't seen them in years. We've kept in contact through Facebook and stuff, but it was like we'd never skipped a beat. And I think Amanda said
Those
that
are the
too.
best
It's like
kind of people.
it's like we never missed any time away from each other. So they're some of my favorite people, and like literally, we're lucky to have them at our shows. We're
That's
literally
awesome.
lucky to have people like that. And I hope it rubs off on people. I hope people see that because that's the way that I did it. And that's the way that they did it. And there's a lot of people that are still like that. But people have gotten complacent over the past few years because money's been shoved in their face. They haven't had to work for it. Well, now you got to work for it. Now you got to sit out there. But even if money was being shoved in their face, they'd still be working for it because they love talking about their passion with people, and it's contagious. And I hope more people actually take that as an example of how it's going to make them hugely successful again in this hobby.
Well, I find it funny at shows when you hear those vendors go, yeah, nobody's buying anything. But then you walk 2 vendors away and like, yeah, man, I made $3,000 today. Like nobody was buying either. Nobody was buying the stuff you have because like we talked before, it's not the stuff that's selling, or nobody was buying you, right?
Yep.
If they're not buying
You have to sell yourself.
So go back to it. If you have pastel ball pythons on your table, so do 30 other people. If you can't stick out and talk to people and bring them in, then yeah, they're going to find one of those 30 tables to pick up that $75 snake and go home. So you've got to engage people.
I stand behind the other vendors' tables and just scream at people. I mean, it fucking works sometimes.
That is
It works.
factual.
It works sometimes.
Yeah. I've had
I sold
Shawn walk up.
I sold a lot of shit behind people's tables.
Yeah. I've had him walk
I
up and have people over here looking while I'm talking to somebody else, and I'll hear Shawn over there. Which one of you should take it home? And next thing you know, he's like, "Hey, ring them up."
Yeah. You know who I love? Watch every now and then? Flavius.
Yeah.
He'll bring people to your
Flavius.
table to get racks. And he's not the one you'd
Hot
expect.
fresh gecko.
Come on, and he'll walk them on over and
This
show them
weekend it
everything.
was Flavius and Robert Moss. Robert Moss brought like 4 people to my table this weekend. Only one of them bought something, but
But
still,
hey, that's
Flavius every show brings at least one person to me, and they generally always buy something.
That's awesome.
That one. I was turning
I
around. I'm
sold
like,
chickens at Conroe.
you did sell chickens
You
at
were
Conroe.
so proud of that fact.
Peyton was selling frogs this weekend with
I
Andy Sampson.
did. I
Really?
sold chickens.
Oh.
Yeah. Peyton sold frogs.
Yeah.
So on our list of things that other people wanted us to talk about, Douglas Ray White posted something to do with uvulas. That's what he wanted to talk about.
Vulvas. He spelled it wrong.
He now
He
knows
spelled vulva wrong.
he knows what a uvula is now,
Mine's split.
and
He knows the difference now. Okay.
and he knows what a vulva is.
We won't talk
Okay.
about that.
And he knows they're not located in the same place.
Yeah.
The interview
Okay,
that comes
good.
out with the interviews that come out with Conroe in a couple months will be interesting because it was our first interview with a kid,
Oh my god.
and then Douglas Ray White shows up and he forgets we're talking to a kid.
Well, no, he was not the only one, first of all. Because James Bergoli did it, and he was like, shit, you got a kid at
Was
your
that
table.
Daxon Tate kid?
Yes.
But like he
Yeah.
says something and I forget what it was, but I'm like, dude, there's a kid, and then he walks over and introduces and shakes her hand. I'm like,
Totally does. It was the most
Yeah.
fabulous
That's
thing.
Douglas Ray White.
oh,
Douglas Ray White.
I'm telling you, he and Natasha are 2 of my favorite people on earth. I say it all the time, but you can't meet them and not love them. It's just impossible. But uvulas. There you go, Douglas Ray White. We mentioned uvulas. Gerald Taylor said, talk about cutting ball pythons and who shouldn't, meaning new people with no experience shouldn't be cutting eggs in some people's opinions. That comes from YouTube. That comes from people seeing videos on YouTube and wanting to do everything they see on YouTube.
I have a very, very fucked up view about cutting eggs. I'm gonna piss a lot of people off.
Go for it.
if the animal's not healthy enough to find its way out of the egg, it shouldn't be cut.
Yes.
Now,
That I think that breeds weaker genetics.
I agree. That's why I don't force feed anything.
I was about to say force feeding the same
That's-
thing.
yeah.
If it's not going to eat, it's just
That's why I own a king.
feeding-
I own a king snake
Yeah.
because if it's not going to eat, that's you're going to go play with the king snake.
So
Now most people will say that they cut because they're trying to. They don't give a shit. They're looking to see what's in the egg to
Or
see how much
because
money they're going to be counting.
they don't want to risk losing that $5,000 snake because it didn't cut out of the egg because it was born without an egg tooth.
So
Right.
But morally and ethically, if you're going to save that animal and have to force feed it for 6 weeks and sell it to someone, and it's going to breed weaker genetics along the line, how is that right ethically?
Or the ones I don't know what day it is that they're supposed to have. Was it day 60 or whatever? I don't breed ball pythons, but if it gets to that day, they're like, "Oh, I haven't pip. I'm cutting that shit open." I'm like, dude, that's just a guideline. That's not a rule. The snake doesn't have a calendar
I felt like
inside
that
there.
when I was pregnant, and I'm like, no, you can't take my baby early. Like that's what I felt like, and they didn't give me a choice. But
But people will, and we all know the guy on YouTube who does retakes and finger fucks eggs all the time. But people see that and they think that's the norm. That's what breeders are supposed to be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So early this
Stop
morning,
following those fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Mhm. So earlier today, Rob Christian shared something on his personal Facebook page, and since it's on his personal page, I feel like it's acceptable to
It's
share
Rob.
here.
Everything. Go for it.
And he said, just a reminder that social media can be people's highlight reel and that life isn't always as pleasant. Out of my recent scrub clutch, I was hoping to allow the babies to all naturally cut their way out of the eggs, but I had 2 eggs that hadn't pipped 2 days after the first egg had naturally pipped. I noticed that one egg didn't have movement inside, and this was the result. The egg looks to have had some attempted cuts from the baby to get out. So he looked like at the inside of the egg, but it hadn't been successful. And these things happen sometimes, unfortunately. He said that's why he typically will manually pip the egg once it's been cut on its own. So like once the baby cuts it on his own, like he'll go in and slit it a little bit more, but only after it's done it on its own.
And we're talking about several different things here. There is the school of it gets out on its own, whatever. That's how it is. And I'm fine with that. I don't force feed shit. I don't have that problem because most of my stuff is live birth. Then there's those that when all the rest of them pip, they will do a slit and leave it. I can somewhat get that. I don't get the full fucking window. Let me see what's in there. And I'm doing it just because I love these animals and I want to help them. That's not, if you've cut a giant window to see what's in there, that's not because you're just trying to help the animal.
Yeah, he said he also did experiment a bit with incubation temperatures, but personally, he doesn't think that played a role in this at all.
Some of them just don't have egg teeth, and sometimes the shell's too thick.
Yeah, he said each day we learn a little bit, but don't forget that when you see success, you usually don't see all the failures that lead up to that.
Yeah.
Well, look at Parsons. Look at Parsons chameleons. Lee and I were actually just talking about this too. For so long, nobody could get Parsons chameleons to hatch in captivity. They take almost 2 years to hatch, right?
That's crazy.
So,
whoa, what? Wait,
yeah,
an
Parsons
egg takes almost 2 years to hatch.
Almost
Parsons,
2 years.
those giant chameleons.
Like fucking elephants. Like what's happening here?
Kinda.
Yeah. So,
Jeez.
What they figured out was the soil acidity was so high where they're from that it would slowly keep the egg from calcifying too hard. It would break down the outside layer of the shell, make it thin enough. So I can't remember who the guy was that started mixing hydrogen peroxide in water and would spritz the eggs once a week just to soften the shell up. And then he started hatching them and started being able to replicate it in mass.
Awesome.
But we know enough about ball python eggs that, and it's not just ball pythons. It's a lot of people that cut eggs. Yeah. And I could see, I've had geckos that I've had to cut eggs open, and I had a crested gecko that came out with 3 eyes and its nose was split in the middle and it was weird as shit. But like leopard geckos, one will hatch one day and maybe 3 days later, the other one will hatch. You don't mess with them, and if they don't come out and they die in the egg, it's a failure to thrive thing. And again, that I've always been in that school of thought that it means it's something along the line. It's weaker genetics. It could be also from overcalcifying the mom when they're laying. If you can see that they're struggling to get out of the egg and they're moving around, I see that. But like you said, I don't agree with cutting huge windows and sticking your fingers in and rolling them around like a blender and popping them out and then putting them back in. There's no point behind that. There's no point.
Well, Lee said that's like selling eggs. You don't know if it's a weak or a strong baby. I don't see that much anymore, but I do remember that was a thing where people would show up to a show with eggs, and you could buy the baby out of the egg. Like
I remember,
I had never eaten.
Years ago when we went,
like one of the first Daytonas.
Yeah,
you could buy it out of the egg. Like you could buy this one. It's never eaten. You have no idea how it is, but you can go ahead and buy this slimy little baby.
So there is online. James Lewis was very against this, which is why we didn't do it. Notice he gets both names when it's a situation I'm not happy about. But it was, you could buy and hatch your own leopard tortoise. And I
remember you talking about this.
100% I wanted to do it. No. And he was like, fuck no, we're not doing this. What's wrong with you? And I agree. Now in hindsight, it probably was not my best moment.
Nothing in my head says that seems okay.
But I love Savannah, my little one I got now.
Just imagine that egg rolling around in the mail, getting to you.
I know what Savannah ends up being a boy, but it's okay.
That's what Lee said back in the day. People were selling Parsons eggs because they couldn't get them to hatch, so they'd sell the egg.
That's so crazy.
I figured 2 years when the people are like, it never hatched, they'd be gone.
Can't get this out. You hatch it.
Yeah.
It's your problem.
Well, there was a guy in New Orleans selling. There was a guy in New Orleans selling Panther chameleon eggs. And it's a guy that I know, and he had them set up the right way, and he gave you full information and full disclosure. He'd candle it right there for you. You could see the embryo growing, and he was marked so it wouldn't be turned and stuff like that. And people were coming and complaining to me. I'm like, you know what? That's been done for years. I bought a clutch of eggs from Lee. The first chameleons I ever hatched, I bought them from Lee and Amanda in a tub. And 11 months later, they all hatched. Took them home and set them on the shelf. That's all I did. And so, I mean, there's some people that freak out about that, but then there are some people who can at least try to educate people and do it the right way. It's a chance for. I see it's kind of like one of those things where it may be a chance you hatch out a fantastic male panther chameleon out of that egg. You never know. So there's a risk involved in that. But I think if there's people that are doing it the right way and ethically, it could be done the right way. I don't. It's not one of the most. I guess it's the easiest way to get into it if you want to take that route. And he's not selling them for $600-700. I think he had them for like $50 or something like that. So you're taking a chance with that. But when I listened to him talk to the customers who were talking about it, he was very, very thorough with his description of what should be done in the care to take to get it transported home and get it set up safely and how to take care of it properly. And he has amazing, amazing chameleons. They obviously love their animals. So, but I guess it's something that's been done in California quite a lot. And they just kind of were like, well, we'll try it. And I don't know how many they sold, but they sold a few to some overly educated people. At least they're pretty good about vetting their customers.
I mean, people sell quail eggs to hatch. So, I mean, it's not outrageous. It's just the egg going through the mail just seemed like a bad idea for a reptile egg.
I mean, what could go wrong, man?
It could rotate at any time and drown and die.
Like I said, not all of my ideas are great. And that's why I have you to help with that. And I bitch about it because you won't let me do what I want. But then eventually I see the way it should have been.
Yes.
You're like the Mandalorian.
He was working on you pretty hard.
I did not win.
Current baby we bought that eats right away was probably a better purchase than the egg for the mail. I did want to read. So there's one other comment. I wanted to read this one. It's a little long, but you'll see. As Reggie Raven said, they want to talk about the increase in people moving towards trying to provide the best they can for animals and how they do it. Does this mean we're finally moving away from excuses like it's fine and eats, it shits, it breeds, it's happy, and it's not broke, why fix it? Or it chooses to live in burrows in the wild, so tiny spaces, I'm forcing it in with a tiny water bowl is plenty. We're so good at making reasons for how we keep these animals to justify their needs rather than using what they need and they can have to thrive to justify how we should keep them. Yeah, I'm still going to keep my shit in small stuff. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be like, Reggie is right, and I'm going to move all my animals to big cages. I'm not. I own Samboas. They stay buried underneath the bedding in a little tub.
Some stuff freak out when you put them in too big of a space, though.
I keep myself the way I keep myself. I don't I think if they're healthy, you're good. There are so many other situations where people have, like, I'm not saying everybody that puts things in a bioactive enclosure is keeping their animal the right way, right? That's just because you put it in a big cage with some soil and some plants doesn't mean you're also keeping it the right way. So I see both sides. Now, if you own a reptile or two reptiles, yeah, probably set them up in a nice cage.
Yeah, the ones in my classroom are set up really awesome.
I mean, you can buy a cage from Robert right here and set it up in a nice cage. But I'm a rack person, and I'm going to keep my stuff in racks. At least my sand boas. My big boas don't go in racks. I put them in cages because I want them to be able to stretch out and everything. But
we're slowly but surely switching some things to cages. You know, I'm trying to put a lot of my colubrids in cages and my boas, my bigger colubrids. I'm not going to, you know, have a 4-foot cage for a fucking hog nose.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
But, you know, for some of my bigger king snakes and stuff, I'm definitely, just because I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I don't want to say this wrong. I don't have to make quite the investment in a cage as you do buying it retail because, you know,
You make them.
obviously I get a little better price.
Wait, you're saying there's a discount if you make your own cages?
Yeah, a little bit.
What?
So, and I can experiment. You know, it's also a way for me to experiment with new designs, and because I'm like, well, I'm not going to sell this because that didn't work, but it's still usable. So I'll just
So
keep it.
I'll use it.
Or but like,
Perfect.
if Shawn has someone come into the shop to buy their first whatever, yeah, they shouldn't sell them on a rack.
Well, you can sell them a single tub.
That is true. You could
I sell a lot of single tubs at the Bryan College Station show for college students who want to hide it
hide under their bed.
Oh, that's so fabulous.
Like they will. I'm gonna fucking advertise next time. Fits perfectly under your bed. I'm gonna put a sign up there
Hell
because
yeah.
I get that people are like, hey, I live in a dorm and
100%.
I'm buying one ball python, and do you have something that would like hide under my bed? Yes, I do. And I
Hell
sell them
yeah.
a single 28 or a single 70, and
Yep,
they get it for $150, 100 plus thermostat. They're $200. They got them a nice little setup that'll hide. Does great for the animal, and they don't have to worry about
fucking
getting
awesome.
busted as much.
I get Reggie's point. There have been a lot of people that got into ball pythons because online you can watch these YouTube videos and they're in a rack and they love the way it looks and it's super easy. And I get that, but and I think you can do it both ways. I love the cage that the Howdy's built you for your
Ackies
at the shop, Shawn. I think that's an awesome cage.
Oh yeah, that cage is phenomenal.
And so if you have the space or something like that, do it. Like the expansion for the shop, you're probably going to have some really cool setups now that you're expanding the shop and you're going to have room.
Yeah. We're building a massive cage right now. With that pond I bought from DFW Reptile, thing's insane.
Yeah.
You almost doubled, right? Like your floor space?
We added like 1,400 square foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
can't wait to see it on Thursday.
So yes, I get Reggie's point, and I think if you can, go for it. But again, like Amanda says here, pets and breeders get housed differently. They just do. Like I've got, I don't know, 20 something sand boas in there. I'm not going to put them all in 3-foot cages.
Yeah.
Well, and I also think that
put a sambo in a cage so you could never see it.
Yeah. I also think that pets and breeders, I'm not going to say that they get treated differently, but like I have names for all of my pets.
Yeah, I
don't name breeders if they're bought specifically.
Lori named all the damn breeders. They would have wine parties and all her friends would come over and drink wine and name geckos.
But
they were all just ID numbers. Yeah. Oh, you still get attached to them. But
yeah.
Yeah. Even Lee said that the checkout counter that the Ackies are in. If you've never been to the shop, you've got to go. I don't know. Y'all have an Instagram, right? For the shop, don't you?
Yeah.
That cage has got to be on somewhere on Instagram, right?
I'm sure.
I think so.
Go search the Instagram for the herp shop.
It would have been when the shop first
It's
opened.
on the herp shop page too. It's on Focus Cube's site too, I'm sure.
Oh, I imagine. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, walking in there and seeing the Ackies like laying out underneath the light, and it's just a cool sight to see.
VivTech lights.
With their VivTech lights. Again, it's code Gumbo 22 to save 15% on your VivTech lights.
You're like the little Geico gecko.
It's 15%.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
speaking of the howdies though, I need to get with Steve and Ashley because I have plans for something new.
She said it's on their homepage, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So
go
you
check
go
it
to
out.
the Focus Cube homepage.
Yeah.
So, and then just quick things, some things that were posted over on the discussion group. One was, I've seen this before. Nathan Holcomb posted it, but it shows the burrow to lay the eggs. That's I forget what monitor it is, but it's this insane like corkscrew.
The spiral one, yeah. So
There's
talking. If you ever have a question about monitor breeding, ask Pete Mimikos the next show. Like he is a genius when it comes to that. And so with the Ackies, we're doing that. I saw that picture and I was talking to him about Ackies, and a female Ackie will lay until she cannot see, or she will burrow until she can't see light. And so the way that he told me to do them was let her lay the eggs, put them in a shoebox tub, let her lay them, stick them in the closet in the dark. But we made a burrow in the focus cube enclosure that goes all the way down the
curve.
It's literally the first
all
thing
the
on
way
their
around.
website when you go to it. It's Steven standing behind it
on the Howdy's website on Focus Cube.
Yeah.
So check out Focus. I mean, it's like almost 8 foot by like 4
Oh, it's
foot.
big.
Yeah.
It's
big enough that we had to take it apart. Well, they did take it apart outside and get it through the door because he miscalculated just slightly.
I can only
I
imagine.
remember this.
I can only imagine he's at the door with the tape measure trying to figure out, well, if we turn it just enough, can we get it? And then fuck it.
Oh, we tried. We tried. Like it was like a millimeter off or something. It was crazy. It was so close. So
Brandy O'Quinn found it on the Herp Shop page and she sent it to me in Facebook Messenger.
Oh,
so
cool.
I just shared it on the Reptile Gumbo page.
Yes, go check it out. That's Katie, you want to talk about the movie that you're excited about coming out?
Loud Loud Crocodile. I can't wait.
So hey,
One
we're
of
actually doing something with the cinema here with that.
It's one of the sweetest books. It really is.
Yeah,
it's an older book. I'm so excited.
We had a cinema, one of the theaters, reach out to us at the shop, and they're doing some big preview of that movie, and they want us to come out and bring some animals, and we're talking to Russ about actually having a caiman there and stuff. So
when are they doing that? Do you have a date?
I'll have to go back and look at the dates. I'll let you know.
Text me.
Once we, yeah. Well, we'll post it too because once we get all the information, they're gonna be publicizing it, and we're gonna be sharing it. But we'll have some really cool animals out at there. Whenever the first viewing or whatever the movie
That's
is.
so cool.
So yeah, we're working with them. It'd be pretty cool. And then we're also doing something for the Lions Club here is doing they do a camp for kids with disabilities. And so we're actually doing helping them with a fundraiser and doing some raffle prizes and stuff. So we'll be posting a bunch of that stuff pretty soon where people can join in the raffle and help a bunch of kids go to camp. And the new thing about the camp that they're doing this year there is they actually have a family camp that they're adding on to. So for kids with extreme disabilities, their parents get to go for free as well.
Yeah.
Well,
stay with them.
There's so the Lion Clubs, that's like a national thing that they do.
Yep.
And there's a couple of other places. I know some people in other states that actually go and work at the camp.
That's cool.
It's really cool what they do. But yeah, so anybody that knows me knows that I'm a big supporter of not judging books by their covers and learning to be you and accepting you and people that are different. And that's what La La Crocodile really is about.
Cool.
And I was so excited to see that it was being made into a movie. It's a great kids book.
Yeah, we'll definitely let you know whenever we do all that.
Yeah.
And then also Nathan posted a video. We go from talking about Ackies to the exact opposite end. Did you see the video of the Komodo on there? Swallowing an entire goat whole?
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh,
see that.
yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
I have seen that one.
It's just such an impressive lizard to see that. Oh, and I somehow missed this question. Katie, you answered it, but someone asked about the flycatcher that we always talk about that you can buy on Amazon.
I don't really even. So Facebook has recently changed the way their app is laid out on their phone. And now I can switch between our Reptile Gumbo page
and your profile
and my page, and it throws me off
every
because
time.
I'll open Facebook and I'm like, where the fuck did all these animal posts come from?
I'll do that too. I was like, why is it all reptile
I don't
shit?
even know some of these people. And then I'm like, wait, I'm on the Gumbo page. And
you should see Lori trying to switch back and forth. Oh my God.
Oh, it fucking drives me
It's
insane.
hilarious.
I have my personal page. I have the Reptile Gumbo. I have my business page. I have our reptile business page, which we really don't do much with. Plus, I have like 3 other old businesses that I had that are still have paid. And I'm like, it'll just like every once in a while I used to do paracord shit 10 years ago. Yeah. And that page is still active.
What's what drives me nuts?
I'll get like an alert on there and I'm like, what am I fucking looking at?
Yeah.
Someone will comment on something on the Gumbo page. And so I'll click on that because it's like, you've got one comment.
It all
and then it
shows up
and then
on your
jumps you over to the Gumbo profile. I'm like, Damn it! Stop that.
Yeah.
I still get people asking me if I have geckos for sale. I still have my Nightglow Reptiles page still up.
Nice. That's
Good
fabulous.
But the bug catching thing is the catchy. If you need one, I need to get another one. You just can't.
No, we don't need another machine.
No, I need another machine also.
Oh.
We need a machine.
I just thought we needed the replacement.
No, we do. It's two different conversations we're
Okay,
having.
never mind.
I also want another machine.
Okay, gotcha.
But I do need more pads for it. If you have any sort of like cocoa natural bedding at any point, you get these damn gnats. No matter what you try, they just show up. And
then if you live in the South and it's like 105 degrees when it should be in the 80s
on September 20th,
then you get more of them because it's just the weather.
Thursday, it's supposed to be the hottest, one of the hottest days of the year.
On
Thursday in September.
The regular temperature in Louisiana, where my parents live on Thursday, is 101.
Yeah,
regular temperature. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
So it was really nice in New Orleans this weekend.
It was
until Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it was humid as fuck.
When it was time to load up.
Of course.
Good thing you sold a lot of your stuff.
It was still hot.
But
that's how I feel it.
So yeah, anybody listening, check out the Catchy on it's KATCHY. We all have them. They're amazing.
The only reason I answered before either of you did is because somehow I saw the notification 2 minutes after it posted.
Yeah, I never saw it.
I was pretty pumped.
Bryant McDowell posted it, and I saw this float around a couple places. It was a rare rim rock crown snake that died while trying to eat a centipede.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a really cool picture.
Some guy commented on the Herps show on the event for last weekend. Will anybody have any rimrock crown snakes there? And I thought he was joking, so I laugh reacted at it. He sent me a fucking diction, like a freaking paragraph on what a terrible person I am for laughing at him. And I'm like, bro, I really thought you were joking because
of the picture.
It's the rarest fucking snake in the United States, and you're asking if
somebody's gonna have one.
Somebody's gonna have one for sale. I seriously thought you were joking. I didn't realize anybody was that stupid. And then he blocked me.
Well,
speaking of stupid, I posted a video a little while back of a chicken. It was trying to eat an ant, and it's just constantly pecking about a centimeter behind it the entire fucking time.
Hey, from Moana.
And my only thought is, dinosaurs evolved into these things.
Yeah,
they went from being fucking awesome dinosaurs to a fucking chicken who can't catch an ant.
One of my favorite shirts that I have is a hey shirt.
It's watching that video. I was like, what the fuck is wrong?
I want to watch Moana.
And then also this week, you found the most amazing group that's in our hometown.
Oh, God.
Oh,
do you remember? You look confused. You found the group that's in Pearland, the cat group.
Oh no.
I've heard about this group.
So they posted in Talk of Pearland. The only reason I saw it is because Rachel was driving for a little while, after we got hit by the 18-wheeler Thursday night.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Or Sunday night, I mean. So I saw that and I'm like, there's no way this, but if you go look, there's one for Missouri City, there's one for Sugarland. They have like every town around here, they have their.
So it's a non-kill cat group, and when you go to it, every post is this most made-up pseudoscience post. It honestly
about how beneficial feral cats are.
Yeah, I'm not fucking lying. It talks about how it has been shown that feral cats are helpful to the environment, and that removing them causes a problem.
Yeah. I thought this was all a joke.
I thought it was like Christians against dinosaurs kind of thing. That's what I thought it was at first. But those guys are not. It's
Citizens for a no-kill.
So all I ever think of when people talk about wild cats is
they should be shot.
No, it's
that's what I think about.
I don't remember if it was both of your girls or one of your girls, but on their like
SATs,
writing,
yeah,
their writing essay on their SAT was about wild cats and the ecosystems. And I was like, oh my gosh,
they nailed that one.
Nailed it.
Just
I hear me preach about it.
I know.
And somehow they've made it to where like certain replies are blocked. I could still see it's there, but other people couldn't see my replies. Like, what the hell have they done to the?
Oh, I like that. You said about ecology and blah blah, and they were like, "You're entitled to your own opinion. We choose to coexist." Science isn't a fucking. It's not an opinion, but it's not.
An opinion. Right, dumbass.
Holy crap! People went in on them. All of my friends went in on them.
Somebody
on the comments.
Add me to this group.
It's not a group. That's just their page.
Right. So this is. Ignore the word faith and
I got you, Katie. I'm gonna send it.
But I wrote this in because I just thought about this. and again, replace the word faith with opinion if you want to, but clinging to faith when presented with facts is foolishness. You can try to claim ignorance, but ignorance is a lack of knowing. Once you have been shown, it is no longer ignorance, but instead stupidity.
Yeah.
So they are stupid at this point. Look at Shawn's wiener. Everybody can see Shawn's wiener. If you're not watching right now, if you're just listening to this as the audio recording, you are missing Shawn. He has got his wiener.
She hasn't seen me all day.
He's kissing.
She just realized I was here.
It's way browner than I thought it would be.
It is very brown.
Oh my god.
It's thicker than I thought too.
No, stop. Oh my god.
It's louder than I thought it would be. Yes.
Speaking of wieners, let's talk about Peyton this weekend.
Whoa, whoa. So that's, his dad is right there.
We won't do that on here. I will tell you guys about it after we hang up. He's already mad at me for fucking with him this weekend. So I don't know if y'all saw his comment. I said something and he's like, fine, I'm not helping you unload your trailer anymore. I'll just help Rachel. I'm like, okay. Help Rachel.
Anyways.
All right.
I've covered everything I wanted to cover.
Well, I was just about to say our daughter needs to practice her trombone before
That is true.
she
She
goes
needs
to
to
bed,
practice
and it's
trombone.
almost 9 o'clock. So we need to.
That was a cute video too, by the way. Dad directing her. That was
She
really cool.
Sounds good.
It's down,
Yeah.
in, out, up. That's
She's like.
There's actually that actually means something.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Well, so the other
Back
night
says don't talk about kids.
Let's see. I was in
Fight my
band
break
in
out.
1991.
Can you think that far back?
I was like, what? Your face was
Jesus Christ.
scaring me a little. You were
I'm
very.
having a stroke trying to figure out
Okay.
years.
Yeah. So it's been
The
like
late 1900s.
30. Holy shit. It was the late
Late
1900s.
Oh, that is the best way. So
Somebody posted the other day that 1980
No.
is closer
We're
to
not.
World War II than it is to today.
me.
That's the year I was born.
Okay, no, I got one for you real quick. So our school in Texas, they don't do bells in between. They do songs.
Or at least in our district.
And
they don't.
whoever's in charge of our songs, that they usually try to theme them. And I'm pretty good. Usually I can figure out the theme. And so let's see if y'all can figure it out.
Okay.
All right. Today's first song was actually 2 because they were short. There were 2 songs by the Doors.
Okay.
The second song was Janis Joplin. Right, yeah.
Okay.
Third song was Nirvana.
Is it from a movie?
Nope. Fourth song, Amy Winehouse. Nope, no one there yet.
It's all people that overdosed.
I was the only one who thought that.
Fifth song was Rolling Stones. It's a little tricky there.
Okay, well,
but
they're
there's
still alive. No, not all
Not
of
all
them.
of them.
and the sixth song was Jimi Hendrix.
So they like heroin,
Okay.
apparently.
They're all members of the 27 Club.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
All people that
Every one
died
of
at
them,
27. There was an
27.
original Rolling Stone
That's
that died
right.
at 27,
Oh, wow.
and everyone else. So I'm listening to this, like those are all 27 Club members. Like that seems fucked up to play at school.
And they all died from drug overdoses.
and one was Kurt Cobain, and it's September, which is, in case anybody's
I was
wondering,
gonna say, isn't
Suicide
September
Awareness
Suicide
Month.
Awareness
Yeah.
Month?
And in case you're wondering, Kurt Cobain
Well, he
died
didn't
of
kill-
lead poisoning to the head.
Allegedly.
He didn't kill himself.
It's true, allegedly. So yeah, I was like, these kids don't understand what the 27 Club is, but I do, and it seems weird to play it here right now.
Well, Mitch Hedberg used to say that he wasn't going to be a member of the 27 Club. He was going to be a member of the 37 Club, and he died at 37.
Well,
Yikes.
So, anyways, Shawn, thanks for coming on. I'm glad you were able to come on. When you posted,
Thanks
it, I was
for
like,
having me,
those are things I wanted to talk about, and
I'm glad
it'll be
you
great.
clarified what
Cool.
that was, because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck 27 Club is. Now I get it.
If people want to reach out to you, Shawn, and they don't know how to by now, I don't know how. We talk about you every week.
message Lori.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, she doesn't need anything else to do.
Yeah, no shit. She's actually working right now. No, herpshow.net is our website. You can message me or Lori. You can message us through the business page. We'll both check it. I did make one real quick announcement about Herp Shop, though.
Yeah.
If you want to see Grant at the shop as a customer, you better come this week, because he is coming home to my house.
Permanently?
Yes, till
he
we find
reaching-
him a female.
So, okay.
I was going to say,
Is he reaching a point where he can't be around people?
All the employees. you're
Actually, James and I were in there. He's fine. He's moody. He's like a teenager, but I
he's
mean,
a boy who only has one thing on his mind.
yes. So it's either play or fuck. That's pretty much his 2 modes right
Yeah.
now, or fight. Or
and
fight.
sometimes one becomes the other.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
a couple of months ago, my parents came down to visit, and we went over to the shop, And I was like, is Grant here? Because the door was closed. Like, he's here. Like, can we go in? Like, yeah. So I took my mom in there. I'm like, oh God, please behave the entire time. I just can't imagine like this thing jumping my mom.
So we did that after. So we did Bluebell, and then we drove to Bryan College because I'm like, why not? And so we did, and then we went to the shop, and then we went to Tipsy Trinket, and it was overall like a fabulous day.
But he was good. My mom pet him, and he behaved. He was great.
He was great today. He was jumping around and grabbing my keys and stuff and playing and acted a fool. But yeah, it's time for him to come home. I'm working on getting some panels around the pen that we have built out here, and we're trying to find an albino female. Yeah, I'm trying to find an albino female. But for the meantime, he's going to come. So we're going to use that for the cavies because we have the cavies in the back. We've been leash training the cavies.
That'd be cool.
So we're going to set up for the pair of Patagonian cavies, and they'll be able to do interactions with them too. So
sweet.
That'd be awesome. If you're anywhere near Bryan College, go by and check out the shop. Definitely go by and see the herp shop. And then in 6 months, how long are y'all projecting the expansion to take?
The construction's done. I did the floors today. We'll be open the next month or so.
Oh damn.
We'll have it all ready to go. Like we have 4 weeks between the shows, so I'm spending. If Lori doesn't keep making me go to the Trinket to do stupid stuff, but I'm trying to stay up there as much as I can to get all the extra work done because those guys my employees are amazing. They bust their ass constantly. So I don't want them to have to deal with it. So I'm doing as much as I can. Peyton went with me to help me with the floors today. So
make James Bergolo do stuff.
Yeah, James has been busy though. That's why I can't bring any more animals back to the shop because there's so many fucking animals right now. But yeah, it's coming along really well. This next couple of weeks we're going to be hammering out, and then Saturday Lori and I are leaving to go to some cabin in the middle of nowhere, and we're going to disconnect for a few days and not do anything and not talk to anybody and take a couple of days to ourselves, and then regroup and get ready to come back for our first Waco show ever.
I like to sleep a lot when that happens.
Robert, if you want to get a hold of you,
message Rachel.
The internet.
lsreptileracks.com.
Yeah, that's the best way.
I'll message them at 3 a.m. Just wait, hold out. If you want to get a hold of me, it's
and if you message me, especially on my personal page,
just
start
one
it
message
off with that, instead of just being demanding right off the bat, just say, hey, how's it going? Or something like that. Because sometimes I just don't, I'm always nice.
Always?
Yeah. Like today I had one that was like something really abrupt. And I was like, good afternoon. How are you? That was my response.
Not out loud. That was not your response.
That's what I typed.
That's what you typed.
Yeah.
But not in the room out loud.
No, you completely different. But that's just to me. I can vent to myself.
Funny.
But if you want to get a hold of us, it is the Reptile Gumbo podcast on Instagram, on Facebook, at gmail.com.
I don't know why you're looking at me. I got nothing.
Simply_serpents on Instagram. I need to get back to adding pictures on there. Simply Serpents on Facebook.
Instagram.
We don't have a giveaway this month. I'm trying to think if I need to. Oh, again, if you want a VivTech light bulb, you use code Gumbo.
Oh, my new business. What's
your new business?
Uncle Shawn's babysitting service.
Oh.
Uncle Shawn, where he'll drop kick your kid if they don't behave.
Like Dax said something a minute ago. He said, don't be talking about kids. A fight might break out.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Do we have on time talking about
No, we're not. We're going to leave it at that.
We don't have enough time for that.
Oh, God. Drop kicks are free. That's right.
I might start charging for them.
Look, if you know, you know.
The first drop kick's free.
And if you don't know, shoot me a message and I'll tell you the story because it's great.
Because I almost got into a fight.
Yeah. Let's not start, James.
No. All right. So that's it. Thanks for joining us next week. Good night.
Love you guys.
Bye.